Chapter 54:29. Since you are not at ease, then I will go in first. Jian Wushuang leaked a smile, regained his appearance, hiding his identity. But when he looked at Bu Kuan, there was something wrong in his eyes. Bu Kuan recognized him, but the old guy was so smart that he didn't see it. Can't let it go. After I went in, all of you who couldn't get in were killed, especially the old guy. Jian Wu had a smile on both sides, but privately ordered the removal of all those who could not get in. The inability to enter shows that the strength is average. These fifth-order peak emperors should be able to easily sweep these people. But Jian Wushuang entered the barrier. The stone statue froze for a moment, and its figure kept shrinking. It could be shrunk to a very small size. After a word appeared, it couldn't be smaller, but it was still different from Jian Wushuang's realm. In the end, Jian Wushuang was teleported away, and the stone statue did not make a move. This surprised many people. Bu Kun's father breathed a sigh of relief and whispered, "My son, my husband can't accompany you to accompany you. Remember to follow the island owner after entering, and don't provoke others." Broly nodded, and then said something rare, "Father, be careful in going." But after Broly entered the enchantment, the stone statue regained the fighting power of the fifth-order emperor. Just a moment after the two sides fought, Broly easily smashed the stone statue. Even more relaxed than Zhen Wuyang and others, Bu Kuan leaked a smile of relief. Fleeing from the heavens to the land, to the West Sea, Broly successfully joined the road. The movement was very loud, attracting the master of the Turtle Spirit Island, and was accepted as a disciple. With a big backing, Bu Kuan is also satisfied. He has been devoting himself to practicing. Broly's strength has broken through quickly, and his realm seems to be connected with Broly. The stronger Broly, the more he can break through. Faster. But one thing is very strange. When he was a third-order emperor, he was not as strong as the second-order peak. Now he is a fifth-order emperor, and his combat power is not as good as some fourth-order ordinary emperors. But the realm is up, but the combat power is getting weaker and weaker. The weaker the combat power, the stronger Broly, which is like a fate. This is the Tao of change. When the outside world was no longer able to enter, there was a big battle, and everyone happened to fall in this battle, including Broly's father, Bu Kuan. Inside the Three Kings Hall. After Jian Wushuang entered, there was a passage in front of him, which was long and narrow. Countless steps and links lead to the deepest point. Jian Wushuang looked at him, and he could only see the 10th step at most. There were some accidents, but I didn't think much about it, and stepped straight up. A piece of information began to pass into his mind. It was some kind of powerful jerk. Is this? Jian Wushuang frowned. A short and very brief genius. Jian Wushuang could understand the kind at a glance. It was very simple. Jian Wushuang didn't want to comprehend, and after quickly mastering it, he set foot on the second step. At a glance, there was a message in my mind. This time it was a little harder than last time, but it was solved in the blink of an eye. The two can also be linked. This is a fundamental knowledge about the airway. Jian Wushuang continued to move forward. Just after entering the third step, a person appeared behind him. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, and the figure disappeared. Is it him? Jian Wushuang thought of Broly he had seen in the Shangqing Palace. Disappeared directly? This is too fast. Even if it's simple, you have to pause. The opponent rushed directly, and after the 10th order, he couldn't see the front, and he didn't know how fast the opponent was. Anyway, this 10th order is just a blink of an eye. Jian Wushuang was a little self-doubt. Is the opponent too fast or he is too slow? This is too bad. Is this the Tao of change? Jian Wushuang's heart was shocked. Extreme Tao encompasses all things and all things, but when these ways are transformed into the power of all things, he also feels very strange, but he hasn't understood the rules contained in it until now. Perhaps the answer could be found from Broly. Jian Wushuang's eyes were low. Keep going. A quarter of an hour later, he saw a figure appear in front of him. He is a sixth-order emperor, who looks like a strong man on the side of the Turtle Spirit Island owner, wearing a high crown and a face like white jade. It's the White Emperor. The body is a sea lion which is quite famous in the West Sea, but its strength is much worse. It belongs to the kind of high-profile but incompetent powerhouse. It's just Tier 6 ordinary. Click. Jian Wushuang quickly caught up with the opponent. Yep. Bai Huang turned his head and looked around, and he also found Jian Wushuang. It was embarrassing for him to fall in the end. Even Broly, the disciple of Guiling Island Lord, surpassed him, and now he was surpassed by Jian Wushuang again, making his expression slightly changed. Jian Wushuang ignored him at all and passed by. The body here does not have any supernatural power, and it is impossible to attack others at all. Otherwise, you really have to be careful of these people. 1700. Jian Wushuang once again encountered a 6th-order emperor who was still a strong man on the side of the Guiling Island Lord. After walking so far, Jian Wushuang finally understood his intentions. Walking here is more like comprehending a secret method. This secret method tests their souls. Jian Wushuang's soul power is not weak. Now has also realized some of the beauty. The origin of the soul. It was the first time Jian Wushuang saw this kind of special origin. Moreover, the great power who created the secret method is probably still the strongest of the ultimate way, because the origin contained in it is too powerful. Has the ultimate meaning. Jian Wushuang was sure that this existence was definitely a mighty person at the master level of the universe. The more you go up, Jian Wushuang's soul can be stronger. Combining with the previous comprehension, now he has begun to grasp part of the soul origin. In his sea of all things, the strongest is still Kendo, but the soul of the soul has evolved from a drop of water to a pool of water. Called 2000 orders. Finally, he felt a sense of stagnation. It's time to stop and practice hard. The growth of the soul is crucial for him to improve his realm. Extreme Sea. Jian Wushuang, whose soul strengthened, began to melt the broken origins floating in the sea of origins. Pieces are like crystals. Continuously integrating and releasing, he himself is constantly becoming stronger. There is no bottleneck in the last 3 layers of Jidao. The only difficulty is how to digest these original crystals that are not integrated with the original sea. At first they were fragments, but now they have condensed into submarine reefs. It became a stumbling block for his breakthrough. If these reefs are not removed, sooner or later he will suffer from the above losses. Cultivation is like a flat boat floating in the sea. It can resist strong winds and waves, and finally it will be bad when it touches the scorch. So if you want to go more smoothly, you have to melt these reefs. But now he has less than 1 level of integration, and there are still 90% of the follow-up. https:// Please remember the domain name of this book's first publication, Apex Novel Mobile Version Reading URL. Chapter 5430. The key to is still the tip of the iceberg, and more crystals are on the bottom of the sea. His soul realm to the extreme may not be able to integrate all. This needs spatial help. Once the space realm reaches the black hole, he can quickly swallow these crystals and fuse them. Carry on. Although the flies are small, they are also fleshy. If his soul does not improve once, he can merge a lot of crystals, and his strength is more pure. For the first time, I walked 2,000 steps in one breath. This time, he walked 800. Has caught up with the Emperor of the Sky Toad, the top emperor of the 6th rank. It's nothing to catch up with these people. The heirs never came in and haven't seen one yet. Even Broly has never seen his back. Their speed may be faster than him. Although they came in a while earlier, they wouldn't leave him so far. The higher the soul realm, the farther you can see. Now he can see clearly. The soberness in the previous 100 steps was once muddled, but now his eyes are like thunder and lightning. Continue to practice cross-legged to improve the extreme ocean. So repeatedly. After leaving, I don't know how long, Jian Wushuang finally met an acquaintance. The 10,000-star god. There is still 104 orders from Wanqing. Jian Wushuang is happy in his heart. I haven't seen it for thousands of years since the original star. Now the other party has not only succeeded in rapport, but it also seems to have been apprenticed to Situ Nan, and now the chaos is rising. Situ Nan is the deputy head of the law enforcement hall of the Senate's palace. His strength is comparable to that of the highest level. He has tremendous power in the heavens. After Situ Nan is a teacher, he basically walked sideways in the heavens. But now Wanxing has become more and more restrained. No longer domineering, replaced by a low-key aura, just like a normal practitioner, step by step, each step will be understood for a long time, and then stepped again. Jian Wushuang quickly caught up with him, turned his head and glanced at Wanxing, without any expression, directly surpassing the past. Seeing Jian Wushuang overtake, Wanxing was a little surprised, but only surprised, and then continued to be immersed in the secrets of comprehension. 5,000 steps. Snapped. When Jian Wushuang stepped in, his figure flashed and disappeared in place. Here, the ages have changed. Before Jian Wushuang could react, he heard a simple voice, which turned out to be an ancient language he understood. Practitioner, if you can reach the 5,000 level, it means that your soul has reached the threshold of the 30,000 temple heavenly sovereign, and you can choose any of the Taoist methods here. Jian Wushuang saw the scenery in front of him clearly. A huge ancient hall with many thrones above it, and a huge head floating on the top, the appearance of a strange animal. Where did the sound come from? Reward a set of methods? Jian Wushuang leaked joy. Changed. Belongs to a very special source way, even rarer than the ultimate way. There are even fewer ways to change the way. Although he is not a practitioner of the Tao of Transformation, there is something in the extreme Tao, and the Tao of Transformation can change everything. No matter what he cultivates, he can practice the Tao of Transformation. This is very similar to Ji Dao, but Ji Dao encompasses everything, and Change Dao changes everything, and there is essentially a gap. God and demon refining body. Jian Wushuang took a piece of jade slip from the nearest throne and looked at it carefully. This is a simplified version. Is about body refining, which is similar to body refining in the demon space. He doesn't need this. Took a look and put it back. God/Magic pupil. Various methods of Jian Wushuang gave up after a glance, which was not very suitable. These thrones seem to have an order, the more forward, the stronger the method. Jian Wushuang was not in a hurry, looking at them one by one. I saw tens of thousands of methods. If these methods are taken out, I am afraid that the true spirits will appear. No wonder King Bai said that the Temple of Three Kings was comparable to the Temple of Qishan in ancient times. Is really extraordinary. There are so many methods at this level. And this kind of method, it seems that the lowest is created by the most powerful. At the top, there are more than 10 methods of Wangzhou Mountain. Jian Wushuang has no permission to see. Practitioner, the method above requires you to reach 10,000 steps before you can choose it. Jian Wushuang stepped back, respectfully clasping his fists and saluting. The juniors don't need anything for the time being. I want to continue walking. It is good. The giant beast opened his big mouth and swallowed Jian Wushuang directly. Keep going. Most of the he got are not average. Tianma Gong is a method of the highest level. He hasn't cultivated to consummation now, and he doesn't bother to cultivate this level of faculty anymore. If you want to learn the strongest, the average person really doesn't like it. Keep going. Not long after this time, I met an acquaintance. But it's not too familiar. Is a fifth-order pinnacle emperor of the Yuan Palace. Also let him meet several in a row. These old guys, who have lived for countless years, realized that they did not lose to Wanxing. Looked back, Wanxing Tiandi was just 200 steps behind him. The higher the soul realm, the clearer the eyes. After 5,000 steps, he can even see the scene beyond 300 steps. And after going to the present, he found that the fragments of information received, linked together, turned out to form a simple soul secret method. Slightly adjusted, the whole person was shocked. A soul Dao origin rose, and there was an extra force in the palm of his hand. The power of soul Dao is very special, similar to change Dao. Jian Wushuang secretly guessed that among the three kings in the Three Kings Palace, one of the three kings might be the king who cultivated the origin of the soul. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so generous, attaching his soul Dao secret method to the steps along the way. This secret method can be roughly divided into 5 layers under Jian Wushuang's careful distinction. He is almost at the 7,000th level now, and he hasn't even mastered it the first time. I'm afraid I won't be able to get started until you reach the 10,000 floor. This is even more demanding than change. The threshold of the change path is to walk 5,000 steps. However, it is normal. The change path requires 5,000 levels, because it is not his own major cultivator. Gillen Island Lord? Jian Wushuang saw another figure in front of him. It is the Turtle Island Master, who can walk here at such a fast speed. The 6th order peak powerhouse is really extraordinary. Even if the origin is flawed, the soul is not flawed. After Jian Wushuang's super came up, Turtle Island Lord didn't care at all, and steadily stepped forward. 5,000 orders, he also went to the eternal change. There he learned something shocking. The origin of the defect. His origin turned out to be flawed. In the 4 great secret realms, many superpowers have this recognition. Because they can no longer improve, they will doubt themselves. Like the Turtle Island Lord, he hasn't reached the true peak among the emperors, and obviously doesn't have this knowledge. Now that I understand, there are disappointments and surprises. What is happy is that there are secret methods in the eternal changes that can help him restore his original source. Jian Wushuang's origin has no flaws, and he doesn't understand them. https:// mobile version reading URL. Chapter 54:31. Seeing that the other party has been immersed in it, he did not say hello, and continued to move forward. Soul Road Secret Method. This secret method is given to them for free, and it is also considered the strongest secret method, but the complete secret method that you want to obtain is estimated to be finished. After reaching the 8,000 floor, Jian Wushuang found that he could see the scene outside the 800 level. 9,000 floors is 900 steps. Thousands of layers are 1,000. He didn't know whether this was related to the soul secret method or the soul realm. 9,999 floors. 7 emperors stopped here. These 7 people are all powerhouses in the Yuan Lao Palace. There are Sidu Nan at the 6th order peak, and there are some emperors at the 5th order peak. From ancient times to the present, their realm may not be high, but in their souls, they are much stronger than their inheritors. I just don't know why I stopped here. Said it was stronger than the inheritor, but with the shadow of the inheritor, he also saw Wan Xing alone, and Wan Xing had been behind him, not much weaker than him. The soul is stronger than the inheritor, but the speed of comprehending the secret method is not as fast as the inheritor. This is an indisputable fact. Otherwise, why would the real spirit cultivate them? After digging out a universe, these inheritors were selected, and among the inheritors who entered this place, the weakest 10,000 stars were able to rank in the top 1,000 among the inheritors. Is stronger than some ultimate ways. Not all ultimate beings will become Taoists or emperors against the sky. There are some inheritors who have mastered the ultimate way. Now they are not even Dao Jun, they are stuck in the 5th and 6th level, and they can't improve. Is also the first batch of ultimate existences. The cultivation has been accumulated for too long, and then it exploded after encountering the Temple of Forbidden God. Each became a Taoist monarch, and then began to seek breakthroughs. But even for this group of people, there are not many who can practice the ultimate path to consummation. At present, it seems that Hui Qing has succeeded in the harmony alone with a satisfactory attitude. Jian Wushuang is a group of people who have mastered the ultimate way very early, and now the 8th level is also the first group. Ji Dao has no bottlenecks. Once he masters the realm of the black hole, he can quickly reach consummation. He Dao is also coming soon. But he has not made any preparations for He Dao. This time, let's see if we can make some profit from this place. Prepare for He Dao. When Hui Qing joined the Dao, he was looking at it. There are so many treasures and a glimpse of the power contained in the spirit spring. I am afraid that every 100 billion cubic meters of sacred stone cannot be obtained. This is not a star, but a square. After scouring Tian clean, he couldn't get so many sacred stones. This was just a glimpse of Lingquan, and there were many treasures that he couldn't see. The most important thing is the site. The place is very lucky, and it is probably the habitat of a universe lord. He is not lucky enough to enjoy this kind of place with good time and place. Originally thought that True Spirit would also prefer him, but because of Queeman's affairs, it was considered good if he was not removed, and he did not dare to ask for it. After stepping on the 9,999 floor, Jian Wushuang realized why so many powerful people are trapped here. This place is really extraordinary. The secret method of the soul is not difficult. It took him a month to comprehend and understand, but the next chess game stumped him. In the original space, an illusory figure appeared. This person's complexion is blood red, his hair is messy, and he wears a black robe embroidered with golden runes. He is a little fat, uncut, and his eyes are like copper bells. This made Jian Wushuang think of the Hades in the mundane world. Ordinary people will really be shocked when they see it. Hey, kid, let's accompany the old man in the next game. The entire space turns into a chessboard, and the two face each other far away. Or chess? Jian Wushuang groaned for a while, first respectfully see you, and then began to think. He understood the rules of the game through description, but he didn't have the skills. War chess, there are no pieces. All the chess pieces are condensed in space. Jian Wushuang learned that the opposite person condensed a chess piece, which is a wooden path. Wood road, the spirit of heaven and earth. The spiritual root of the 5 elements. It's a good game, but it's a problem to fall there. Fortunately, he has the Ji Dao and knows where the Wood Dao origin is to be used. Nizuki. Jian Wushuang placed a piece, and landed the wooden chess piece on the border of the 2 on the chessboard, where there is a natural river. The old man Yan Wang brightened his eyes and said with joy, "Little guy, interesting." The he had just condensed had been held in his hand. Jian Wushuang didn't even know what it was. Snapped. Guangdao chess pieces. Landed on the darkest corner of the chessboard, where Jian Wushuang's chassis was originally, illuminating half of the chessboard in an instant. Jian Wushuang also learned a lot, but he found that every time the opponent countered. After pondering for a while, Jian Wushuang shook it in the void, and 2 chess pieces appeared in his hand. First, he played a Lei Dao origin and placed it on the edge of the opponent's light Dao chess piece. The lightning flashed and the sky was dark. Yep. The old man of Yama was a little surprised, and he couldn't tell for a while. After thinking for a while, he grabbed a piece from the original space and gathered a chess piece. Yang Dao origin. The light path cooperates with the sun path, forming a hot star. Can this happen? Jian Wushuang was stunned. Can you play like this? Around this point, Jian Wushuang started a long way to crack. Raiden cultivates electric roads and forms the world of thunder and lightning. The opponent is adding chips, and he is constantly investing. Dark road, thunder road, electric road, rain road, wind road. Eventually condensed the destruction Dao, and once again evolved into a black hole. Jian Wushuang's road widened. No matter how big the light is, where can I go? Jian Wushuang leaked joy. Is going to win. But right here, the old man Hades leaked a smile. The little guy in front of him is definitely very interesting, and he is not ready to release the water. Most of the people who had passed by came to this point and won. Jian Wushuang doesn't know. Snapped. Fell in one go. There are 9 planets around the hot stars, and a river is formed around them. This. Jian Wushuang was dumbfounded. He didn't even understand the black hole, but the other party crossed the universe and directly opened up a long river of time and space. How can I play this? He never thought that it would be like this, and he began to doubt himself. Other people can pass, why can't I get to him? I lost. Jian Wushuang shook his head, a little lonely. The old man Yan Wang was very happy, and smiled lightly. Little guy, don't worry, let's continue. Just like that, in this space, Jian Wushuang was trapped by the opponent, but he finally got free after many years. From the black hole in the first game to the black hole engulfing the universe in the back, it really made him understand the complex structure of the universe. But it is not easy for the universe to win against each other, and Jian Wushuang walks wider behind. At first, he didn't pay attention to one city and one place. Instead, he first drew a line, opened the world with one line, and drew a starry sky before he defeated the opponent head-on. https://mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5432. The moment the old man Hades lost, he was stunned. There was no unwillingness after failure in his eyes, but aftertaste. You won. The old man of Yama took away the space, and the figure disappeared. Left a sentence before leaving. The old man sent you a sentence: go on your own way and don't doubt yourself, because you defeated a once remarkable existence today, and you are proud to go on. Jian Wushuang is a little puzzled. What does it mean to win in chess? When he leaves this space, he realizes it is instant enlightenment. Because of the insights when playing chess, all realized became a fact. He really understood everything that followed. At least the realm of the black hole is not as blurred as it once was. The Dharma body of the deep black hole shuttles faster. The realm is constantly rising, and the reefs in the Sea of Origin are also shattered one by one. In this game, Jian Wushuang is probably the one who has received the most. Because the old man of Hades would release water, he almost let others pass. When I arrived at Jian Wushuang, I thought Jian Wushuang was a bit interesting, so I was immersed in it, but he didn't expect that he would really win in the end. Jian Wushuang took the last step and reached the 10,000th order. There is no one in the place he sees now, and he doesn't know how long he has been stuck here. After reaching the 10th rank, his figure disappeared again. Change through the ages. Jian Wushuang didn't understand the meaning. He guessed that it should be related to change Dao. After arriving at the familiar hall, the huge alien beast head said again, "Practitioner, choose the method." This time he didn't waste time and went straight to the highest point. On more than 10 thrones, there are jade scrolls instead of jade slips. Looks different from those geniuses. Jian Wushuang walked directly to the main position and took down the scroll. The 3 eye-catching characters, Eternal Change, at the top is the same as the name of the hall. It was so easy to get the strongest secret of this hall, Jian Wushuang couldn't believe it. Eternal Changes. Jian Wushuang closed his eyes. As he thought, it was not that simple. The eternal transformation here is only the Hinayana mystery. Tianjun can practice. Is not a treasured secret. Has changed through the ages, and what it contains is almost the same as the name. The Hinayana realm can reach the level of eternal change, allowing the divine body or the origin to change. After the change, of course it is an increase. In the early stage of Theravada, there are still ancient changes and first changes. The first change is an increase of 10%, the ancient change is an increase of 10 times, and the eternal change is 100 times. Seeing this, Jian Wushuang is overjoyed. His current divine body has beasts and divine weapons that can be augmented. The origin has the power of all things, and there is no need for augmentation, but there are methods for augmentation, and he will not be stingy. Once the power of everything increases, he can't imagine how strong it will be. Did not come in vain. Jian Wushuang rejoiced. Seeing Jian Wushuang set the stage for eternal change, the head of the strange beast said, "Have you chosen?" "You have chosen." Jian Wushuang nodded. The head of the alien beast that had no emotion at all reminded a little unexpectedly, "You have to think about it. The secret method above this can be cultivated to the realm of Mahayana. Although it has become stronger through the ages, it can be cultivated. The Hinayana realm. The younger generation now lacks the secret method of eternal change, and don't consider other things." Jian Wushuang shook his head, very firm. What he wants is not what suits him, but what he lacks. There are many more suitable for him, but those suitable are just icing on the cake and cannot improve much. Not as good as the most lacking. Moreover, with such secrets as the eternal change, I am afraid that he will be able to increase himself even as an emperor. The Hinayana realm, enough for him to use the emperor, he doesn't have too many extravagances. There will be better ones in the future. You can leave now. After was swallowed by the head of the alien animal again, 2 paths appeared in front of Jian Wufeng. There is also a list above. Soul Dao Inheritance, 1st, Tong Tian Buddha 2nd, Zhen Weiyang 3rd, Huiqing, Jiang Shang, 4th, Sidunan 5th, Guiling Island Lord 9th, Gong Miaoyi Inheritance of Change Path, 1st, Broly 2nd, Chishui Walker 3rd, the 10,000 Star Emperor 7th, Emperor Tianshan. There are 16 strong players in total. 9 of them chose the Soul Dao inheritance, and the other 7 took the Change Dao. Change the combat power pursued by the Dao, while the Soul Dao is more stable, forging the foundation and broadening the horizon. The powerhouses who choose Soul Dao have almost enough combat power and want to go further. Zhen Wuyang, Tong Tian Buddha, and Guiling Island Lord are very consistent. Especially the Guiling Island Master, the picture is bigger. If you want to break through and reach the top, you must accumulate slowly. If Jian Wushuang chooses these 2 ways, he will also choose Soul Dao inheritance. The first step is the Soul Dao ladder. Jian Wushuang really wants to walk through it all the time and obtain the complete Soul Dao secret technique. You have a choice, I don't have a choice. Jian Wushuang shook his head helplessly, then his body changed for a while and he turned into 2 people directly. Clone. Anyone can conceive a clone, but the clone of the emperor is the Dharmakaya, so there is power in nothing. Jian Wushuang is different. He can not only divide the body, but also divide the origin. His original Dao and his physical body have been refined 10 times, and they have been thoroughly integrated. With his current source strength, it can be divided into several clones that are similar in strength to the deity. It's just that the clone hasn't cultivated the unique knowledge, and it still lacks the powerful treasure, and its strength is a bit weak. If there is no beast weapon and heavenly magic power, he will have the fighting power of a 4th-order emperor. Too many points are useless. After becoming an emperor, it's different. When the time comes, any source clone will have the power of a 6th-order emperor. At that time, he was truly terrifying. One person can be transformed into a group of 6th-order emperors, which is much stronger than the clone of the mountain monarch. 2 inheritance channels, he wants them all. Choose? That is reserved for the weak. 2 figures entered the passage together. The rankings that can be seen on the channel have also changed. The last one is the name of Jian Wushuang. After went in you reading www.ukanshu. Jian Wushuang found one thing, he exposed it. I can't change it. But it's nothing, it's exposed. In the passage of the Soul Dao inheritance, Hui Qing, who was ranked 3rd, was still walking hard. When he was breathing, he glanced at the row and was stunned. Jian Wushuang. Hui Qing suddenly turned her head and whispered in a low voice, Brother Wushuang? He was overjoyed. Ever since he met Jian Wushuang in the black hole, he was determined that Jian Wushuang was still alive. He didn't expect to encounter him here. Must have also come in from that black hole. After seeing the name, Jiang Shang, who was standing next to him, had a fear from the bottom of his heart, and even his original spirit was trembling. He eats kids. Some clumsy grass and wood spirits originally lay on Jiang Shang's shoulder and screamed into sleep. After seeing Jian Wushuang's name, he exclaimed and hit directly into Jiang Shang's body. Hui Qing didn't have too many accidents, but Jiang Shang became vigilant. After entering this passage, the disguise on Jian Wushuang was gone, and now it was a naked soul floating. https://mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5433, The Power of All Things, the Power of Devouring, the Power of Mind. The 3 surround the whole body. Fortunately, the power of all things is the power of heaven and earth. Devouring is not the case, not only the destruction in the black hole, but also the evil aura that swallows all sentient beings. Compared with others, the mind power of the mind is stronger. These are enough to scare ordinary practitioners. Tong Tian Buddha and Zhen Wuyang walking in the front also saw Jian Wushuang's name. Fortunately, Tong Tian Buddha didn't know much about Jian Wushuang. Zhen Wuyang was very happy. Jian Wushuang explained here that he was still alive, and this time he brought Jian Wushuang back to the Tomb Mountain. Situ Nan from the Yuan Palace was overjoyed. When he came, he received the notice from above that he would encounter the missing Jian Wushuang here, and asked him to give Jian Wushuang a piece of jade slip. After coming in for so long, he has not found Jian Wushuang. He thought Jian Wushuang had fallen, but he did not expect to hide so deeply. There is one other person besides Jian Wushuang, Broly. The former is an order from the real spirit, and the latter is a death order from the bottom of Wuzhua. The county magistrate is not as good as the current one. When he came, Broly was the first to look for, and he kept staring secretly after he found it. Broly's matter, Wuzwa has been concealing and not telling the public. The notice to Situ Nan is also a simple description, looking for this person in the land boundary. I didn't expect to meet here, and he was lucky, and now he found Jian Wushuang again. It can be said that it was a double happiness. This time I went back and had a relationship. But Wuzwa's request is even greater. A practitioner who changes the way, or an indigenous emperor in the 4 great secret realms, once handed over to the true spirit, it will be a great contribution. I am afraid that the Senator Palace will also make an exception. Jian Wushuang didn't know that his appearance would surprise so many people. The passage of Soul Dao inheritance is the same as when it came, no surprise. There are some novelties in the change road. He will change away without stepping up a step. Has mastered the origin of all things, he walks the fastest, probably much faster than Broly. There are still very few steps in the change road, a total of 10,000 steps. Jian Wushuang walked 100 steps in a quarter of an hour, surpassing the last one. The speed behind is even more unabated, rushing forward all the time. Soon reached the top 3, surpassing Chishui Walker. Chishui's heart was shocked. The person in front of him was familiar, but he didn't seem to have seen it here. After entering the temple of Chishan, he encountered too many things and people, and he couldn't remember it for a while. The tens of millions of practitioners in the Chishui temple at the beginning were familiar with them, and they were pretty good, and many of them were selectively forgotten. So I didn't care too much and kept walking forward. Jian Wushuang walked fast enough here, but still couldn't see Broly's shadow. He can see the first 2,000 stone steps clearly now, and there are 4,000 steps after he left, but he still can't see Broly. The opponent has at least reached 6,000 steps. In other words, the other party has transformed 6,000 origins. This is also terrible. He said the past of all things, illusion of all things. Why the other party? Is it true that the change is so against the sky? After thinking about it, he understood a little bit. When the old man with horns looked back to find someone, he was probably looking for Broly. Can make the old horned man go back desperately, either under Wuzwa's order, or under the real spirit's order. If it is true spirit, I am afraid I will go in person. High probability is still Wuzwa's command. Can make the disciples of Chishan care so much, I am afraid that change is stronger than he imagined. One of the kings in the Hall of 3 Kings is the change path of cultivation, which is enough to explain the problem. Practicing the Tao of change, and being able to reach the level of the 3 Kings, one can imagine the speciality of the Tao of change. This passage, I am afraid that Broly is the most suitable, and I am afraid that he will be taken away by the Senate after going out. Jian Wushuang continued to move forward. The changes in his body were obvious every time. From the simplest ordinary road to the extremely complex synthetic origin. For example, water and fire are one, forming a yin and yang. Or they have reached the limit of destruction, and their body has turned into a black hole. Every time after the transformation, Jian Wushuang carefully experienced the mystery. There is only one thing, and one can transform everything. Among the mysteries, Jian Wushuang needs to be solved one by one, and repeated to understand. In cultivation, he must be foolproof. Jideo's promotion, that's what is needed. One must understand the rules in all things. All things. Jian Wushuang thought of the mystery of myriad tribulations that Xuanyi once gave him. I didn't feel that much when I read it at first, but now he continues to walk down, but he finds that the disaster in all things is more than that simple. Every road comes to an end, there is disaster. Is like the causal killing in him. He really killed a lot of people when the devouring power was at its strongest. The evil karma on his body was very strong, which affected his luck, and he needed to resolve it. Is resolved before joining the Tao and transformed into Chi luck. Otherwise, this is really a killing. Compared with the change road, the soul road walks more smoothly. The path of the soul road is a secret law against the sky. Every level is comprehending one of the links. As long as the comprehension understands, you can go on forever. 2 ways, 1 soul way and 1 change way. The 3 Kings court should be 3 kings. Why there are only 2 ways? Jian Wushuang was a little puzzled. He still remembers the red-faced old man. Chess pieces. That special memory made Jian Wushuang some understand. On his special chessboard, he merged everything and finally won the old man. From the chessboard, he has a new understanding of everything. Compared with these two passages, the chessboard may have improved him more. 3 kings. Jian Wushuang would not be willing to ask for one, but to walk the limit of 3 paths. Only in this way can we get the true core inheritance of the 3 kings' court. How long? Since entering the great wilderness, every time he passed on, he was crushed by others, and he almost lost his confidence. This time the inheritance of the 3 kings' court, no matter what calm, he will get it. He Dao has a vague cognition, but nothing has been prepared yet. He needs the opportunity here to help him reach the limit, and then join the road. The 3 kings' court was also the pinnacle power in ancient times, not much weaker than Qishan Temple. How can a person who dare to fight against the gods be an ordinary strong person? Each of the 2 roads moved forward, and Jian Wushuang continued to surpass. On the Soul Road, even catching up with Zhen Weiyang. When the 2 passed by, they just nodded and didn't talk too much. Now that the identity has been recognized, there is no need to hide it. Zhen Weiyang looked at Jian Wushuang's back, feeling a little uncomfortable in his heart. The Yenxian who was exiled by him in the wilderness has grown to this point now. In the enlightenment of Soul Dao secret law, he even surpassed him. Yep. The ranking on the wall suddenly changed. The Emperor Tianchan was moved away. Jian Wushuang was also a little surprised. He originally thought that he could go on walking if he had time, but now it seems that he understood it wrongly and still has a request. https://mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5434. Heaven-Toad Emperor was on the path of change. He was even removed. Obviously it was impossible to reach the end. The bigger reason was that it took too long and his intelligibility was removed. Jian Wushuang on the 2 passages began to reduce time and seek faster speed. Especially on the Soul Road. Didn't go up 1 floor, he received a lot of goods, and if it was removed, he would lose a lot. Soon, someone was moved away again. The 6th Order Emperor on the side of the Guiling Island Lord, except for the Guiling Island Lord, have all been removed. Followed by some 5th Order Emperors in the Yuan Lao Palace. On the Soul Road ladder, Jian Wushuang has already walked 20,000 steps. On the Change Road, he also walked 8,000 steps. But I still didn't see Broly. Is probably over. Mastering the path of change, it's not difficult to finish 10,000 steps. Jian Wushuang can finish everything by mastering everything, let alone Broly who specializes in change. The key is still the soul. After 20,000 steps, I finally saw the backs of Hui Qing and Jiang Shang. Looking from behind, the 2 walked side by side. Step by step, the pace is steady, obviously not reaching the limit. Depending on the location, it should be around 27,000 steps. Now that he hasn't seen the Tong Tian Buddha, it is very likely that the other party has passed the 30,000 stairs. Change Dao has 10,000 steps, and it is not clear how many steps Sword Wushuang there are in Soul Dao. At least now, he hasn't even seen the first position. Tong Tian Buddha, who walked the Tong Tian Avenue, could surpass them so much, Jian Wushuang was still a little surprised. Jian Wushuang would not think so if he knew the inheritance of the Tong Tian Buddha. This is also the reason why Zhen Weiyang and Qi Shui don't care. Tong Tian Buddha was on the Tomb Mountain and received a cosmic secret inheritance. The soul has been promoted. Even the soul mark was embedded in the origin of the Lord of the Universe, to experience the power of the Lord of the Universe. This kind of opportunity has naturally benefited the Tong Tian Buddha infinitely, surpassing Zhen Weiyang and others in one fell swoop. This time by chance, he is one of the most capable people. Broly, needless to say, the special source Dao, which is rarer than the ultimate Dao, is a great luck to be able to go to the 3 kings' court. Is the emperor who is most hopeful of inheriting the king of change. There is no one, and Jian Wushuang has little hope of competing with him. Other people are even more hopeless. On the Soul Road, Tong Tian Buddha is the number 1 seed. Haiqing and Jiang Shang are the rest. Jian Wushuang looked at the back of the 2, and suddenly felt that Jiang Shang had an inexplicable attraction. Very powerful. That power does not seem to belong to her. This person he remembers. I saw it once when I was at the blood sacrifice of Chaos Territory, but I didn't expect it to be an emperor now. Was just a mortal back then. Not many years have passed. Only a few thousand years, from a mortal to an emperor. This is a bit exaggerated. At that time, he was comparable to the Third Order Emperor, and now he is comparable to the Fourth Order Peak. With all the means used, he can also fight the Fifth Order Emperor. Compared with the other party, it doesn't seem to be against the sky. Thousands of years have entered the Emperor from the commonplace. He has never even heard of it. The reason why he was able to climb so many levels was because of the power of Jidao. He had realized the origin of space in advance, and he had gone a long way. Second, it is because of the magical beasts and demons' unique knowledge. Raised his divine body to the limit of Dao Jun, able to fight against the Fifth Order Emperor. Otherwise, it won't be so against the sky to fight the Fifth Order Emperor. Jian Wushuang brows slightly, and I don't know when Jin Weiyang actually caught up with him again. The two didn't pull apart too much, and they kept maintaining about 200 steps. Is now less than 10 orders different. He didn't dare to think any more. He went to the limit to comprehend the secret method and move forward with all his strength. Immerse yourself in it, and time will flow faster. In a blink of an eye, 100,000 years. 100,000 years have passed since they entered the palace of the Three Kings. In the 50,000th year, Broly was the first to pass through the path of change and completed the 10,000 steps. In the first 10,000 years, Jian Wushuang also finished 10,000 steps. It's just that when he finished walking, there was no one behind him, and they were all moved away. After walking the 10,000 steps, the appearance of the summit was different from what he had imagined. Summit. There is only one void step, and one person sits cross-legged on top. When Jian Wushuang looked at the opponent, he saw a woman, but in the blink of an eye, the opponent turned into an old man. The face of the other party changes with his thoughts. He will appear what he wants, even when he sees that the other person is Xian. Shook his head, Jian Wushuang awoke for a while, and there was no figure on the steps. Snapped. Take one step forward. Has entered the 10,001st order. Everything changes. At this level, he realized what it means to be against the sky. After completing the 10,000 steps, he felt that he had grasped the essence of change, but after stepping into this step, he felt that the 10,000 steps ahead were gone. The secret method of eternal transformation is at this moment stepping into the limit. Jian Wushuang took a long breath, his whole body changed, and he roared, "Eternal change, hum! All his precious treasures are in this body." The beast warrior exploded its power. Candle Dragon's wings opened and closed, slightly raised his arm. Jian Wushuang suddenly clenched his fist, and the dark red skin of Candle Dragon's arm burst. Through the ages, the increase is the origin. His origin is very strong originally. This increase directly makes his divine body a little unable to support it. Hurriedly urged the beast magical weapon to more than 30,000 times the body before barely supporting it. Now his origin has the power of half a black hole. Is surrounded by countless stars. More than 30,000 times can support the origin. You need to know that the Fifth Order Emperor's divine body only has more than 30,000 points, and he can support his origin at will. His divine body is more than 30,000 times, and even the origin of Dao Jun is about to burst the divine body. It's worth it. However, the stronger the better. No one will dislike the secret method is too strong. If there is too weak to support the secret method. He hasn't used the heavenly demon art yet. Once he uses the heavenly demon art, he can reach more than 40,000 times the divine body, which is enough for him to use the eternal transformation. Originally thought it would be difficult to cultivate, but he didn't expect that after reaching this step, he could directly enter the Hinayana realm, and it would directly become eternal transformation. Reached the Hinayana realm. Waiting for any reaction from him, his figure disappeared on the steps and was removed. Changed the way and cleared the level. There was only a flash before his eyes, and he arrived in a brightly lit hall. Many people gathered here at this time. But the only thing I am familiar with is the 10,000 Star Emperor. The rest are the fifth-order emperors who can't make it through the chess game, and of course the sixth-order emperors on the side of the Turtle Island Master. Chishui Walker is also here. Jian Wushuang is now restored to his true appearance. Anyway, he is from the East Universe, so he still has to say hello. It's been a long time since I heard that you were killed in the heavens, I thought. https://mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5435. After a few greetings, he chatted with the 10,000-star emperor about the Tomb Mountain, and then began to talk about this hall. These people arrived tens of thousands of years earlier than him, much more than he knew. It's just that some people have been sitting cross-legged in the hall to practice and ignored his arrival. Wanqing smiled lightly. Brother Wushuang, here is not as complicated as we thought. Look at the mural on the wall. Jian Wushuang is not a fool, and he understands it at a glance. The description in the painting is very clear. Three Kings' Court captured a giant egg in a secret realm. Said it was a capture, rather than saying that a giant egg fell from the sky and fell into a secret territory within the forces of the Three Kings' Court. In the secret territory, there is a team of heavenly sovereigns, and the leader seems to be the sixth-order emperor, and the breath Jian Wushuang on his body can be felt. Is at least the sixth-order peak powerhouse. He led a team of 10 people, each of whom was a Tier 5 peak emperor. Such an elite team, when they first encountered this egg, was killed by the secret rules on the surface of the eggshell. The inexplicable fall. Fortunately, in ancient times, when most powerful people went out, they used Dharmakaya. At that time, there were enough treasures and time to hold several epics, throw in countless treasures, and refine a Dharma body comparable to the deity. So some of these people did not fall, but the fallen Dharmakaya. Their deity quickly reported the news to the top. The Lord of the Universe directly under him didn't pay much attention at first, but just let one of the superpowers under his command go. This trip has attracted natural disasters. The first painting is finished. Wanqing pointed to another picture and Jian Wushuang continued to look down. The second mural depicts a huge eye that leaked from the eggshell. The strongest man blasted the eggshell, and only one eye leaked out to suppress the strongest man, but he couldn't make a big kill. Is the master of the universe. Snatched the dome into the Three Kings' Court. Originally thought it was good luck, got an alien beast egg, and wanted to forcibly hatch it with a treasure. Did not expect to backfire. Not only did the dome fail to hatch, the strange beast in it almost died. When the alien beast was weak, a message came out. The news reached the stars. Leads to the coming of a powerful being. The master of the universe also suffered a backlash, lost his mind by the power of the rules on the eggshell, and started to slaughter his men. This scene caused the appearance of the king of the Three Kings' Court. Jian Wushuang has seen the king before, or everyone who has entered this place has seen it. Is the old chessboard man with tousled hair and dark red skin. His coming suppressed the Lord of the Universe. It is a pity that there were almost countless heavenly monarchs that fell. Under the command of a master of the universe, there are countless people. In addition to heavenly monarch and Tao monarch, the fall of hundreds of millions of people shakes the entire river of time and space. In a corner of the mural, there is also an old man with an elder corner on his head. The word Qi is embroidered on his robe. Is the overlord of the long river of time and space, the power of the gods. The old man at the corner means that the temple of Qishan is also reaching out to intervene. Jian Wushuang was very curious about the dome. This time he did not wait for Wanqing to say, and looked at the third mural. In the third painting, there is no description of the dome, but a collision with the old man with a corner. The old man at the corner, depending on being caught up by something, has always been scrupulous when dealing with the Three Kings' Court. However, it can be seen that the Three Kings' Court is very afraid of the old man at the corner. In ancient times, the three gods of the Qishan temple were able to clean up the Three Kings' Court. The Lord of the Universe is also strong and weak. Strong like a of confusion, one person can suppress the entire Morwa time and space. There are also weak ones. In the second mural, the master of the universe who is disturbed by the dome is obviously not good at the same level of strength. It's just that Jian Wushuang doesn't know the power division of the Lord of the Universe and can't figure out how big the power gap is. The old man with a corner in the mural finally retreated, and the three kings' court began to study the dome. But what followed is the arrival of a terrifying strong man. Just when they put the dome into the three kings' court, the stars came. Is exactly Vigo, he led the army to come. Or he alone is an army of monks. Countless twisted reptiles separated from his body and stormed the three kings' court. At this time, the old man at the corner came again, but this time, he had been in the corner of the mural without stepping forward. Foi Ego attacked the three kings' court, devastating all the way, no one can stop. Kept hitting the three kings. Are the bones they saw outside? Those are actually part of Foi Ego's body. If he sees the outside world now, he will be even more convinced. Because Foi Ego is devouring those bones, his strength is also rising. The deity of Shang was able to contend with the opponent from the beginning, but now it has fallen into the inferior. The outside world is even more chaotic. Unprecedented wars broke out on the Earth boundary, the chaotic areas of the southern sky collapsed, and countless strong men fell. Kamen started a big battle at this moment. This step is the result of millions of years of calculations by the gods. In the hall, the more Jian Wushuang looked back, the more shocked. The three kings gave up their lives, and Foi Ego, who had not resisted, was killed by the old man in the corner. That dome has also completely hatched, but it hurt the foundation before, and was born only half the power of the Lord of the Universe, but the realm is the Lord of the Universe. This is already comparable to those innate beasts and gods, born as the Lord of the Universe, extremely powerful. What hatched out of the dome was a dark golden dragon. Without Foi Ego's protection, the old man with the corners easily suppressed it. The final picture is a ruin. A line of emperors entered the three kings' court. There are Zenuyang, Tongtian Buddha, Chishui travelers, Sidu Nan and Guiling Island Lord and others. Jian Wushuang was completely shocked. This is a mural that predicts the future. In addition to these people, he also saw three people without faces, and even the genders could not be distinguished. Who do these three represent? Jian Wushuang pondered carefully. Then thought of himself, he didn't see himself. And Haiking and that Jiang Shang. There are no three of them. These three faceless people should be the three of them. Just why there is no face, Jian Wushuang doesn't know. After watching the mural, he couldn't calm down for a long time. This scene is the same as the others. Brother Wushuang, Yu, Huiqing and Jiang Shang did not show up. I think this opportunity is related to the three of you. There are exactly three kings in the three kings' court. Wan Xing pointed to the top three without faces. The figure of the person with some emotion. His 10,000 paths are naturally related to the change path, and he chose the change path, but in terms of talent, he is incomparable to Jian Wushuang and that Broly. Now he is only the fourth order peak, and it has long been gone. That arrogance. https://mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5436. During the years when was on the tomb Sacred Mountain, I had seen many Tao monarchs even more powerful than him. Even in the non-ultimate way, he is not in the top 10. Compared with the ultimate way, it is even more difficult to enter the top 500. Even if the weakest ultimate way with the 7th level of the realm together, after success, the strength of the two will be comparable. Facing Wang Xing's loneliness, Jian Wushuang patted him on the shoulder and said firmly, "It's not that simple. The more uncertain things are, the less powerful will be entrusted to them." These words are also true. Just imagine who will pass on his own heritage to those who can see clearly. Jian Wushuang felt that Broly had the most hope for inheritance. In the mural, Broly is as barbarous as a beast. Is very similar to the King of Change. The king who changed his way, the deity is like a big mountain with countless tentacles squirming on the top. On the throne on the top of the mountain, the man sitting on the throne is very similar to Broly, especially the eyes are like white wax. Turning his head to look at Broly who was sitting cross-legged in the corner, Jian Wushuang let out a jealous look. The power on the opponent's body seems to come from ancient times and is indestructible. Didn't talk with Wanqing for long, although they were old friends, they didn't have much friendship. Just discussed each other. Jian Wushuang took a little bit. The once invincible 10,000-star heavenly emperor is now somewhat secular, and instead of the fierce and decisiveness he once had, he has a twilight spirit. This is not good. This kind of performance is only now available at the 4th order peak. The road in the future will be very difficult, just like that at the top of Tier 4, and it's good to get to Tier 5. From now on, it would be very difficult for Wanqing to reach the 6th order emperor. But people's paths are different. Like Huiqing, one step to Yanxian, and then reached the 9th round of consummation in Primordial Star, and now he becomes the emperor, and he has directly stepped out to become the ultimate emperor of the 5th step, which is directly comparable to those of the 6th step the peak emperor is now. This is still comparable to the 6th order peak emperors in the complete origin. I am afraid that Huiqing's realm now can be compared to Situ Nan, and his combat power is not much different. The powerhouse on the Change Road, except he and Broly cleared the customs, the others were all driven down halfway. Most of the masters of the Soul Road are still walking, which makes many people feel that they have chosen the wrong path. But it can increase the real combat power, which is far more real than the secret method on the Soul Road. Heavenly Toad Emperor, originally only a Tier 6 top, now he can reach the top of Tier 6 with the use of Eternal Transformation, and he can compete with the Master of the Turtle Spirit Island. This is a qualitative change. The Soul Road chosen by the Turtle Spirit Island Master, after coming out, the strength has not changed, but the realm has been improved. One relies on change to make up for the incomplete source, and the two relies on the soul to repair the source. In Jian Wushuang's view, none of their choices was wrong. Heavenly Toad Emperor, his strength is just like that. Not only can he walk the Soul Road not far, he cannot repair his origin, and may eventually fail. It's not as secure as taking a change path. And the Guiling Island Master was originally the pinnacle of Tier 6, even if the path of change is over, he has changed to the pinnacle of the Hinayana realm through the ages, and his strength has risen to the level of Situ Nan at most. But if he walks through the Soul Road, the Turtle Spirit Island owner has the hope of repairing the original source and being promoted to the highest level, even if it is only a little hope he can't give up. This is the tenacity of the practitioner. Do not give up, do not abandon. Jian Wushuang is the same. In the Soul Road, there are still several people walking now. The one who leads the most is Tong Tian Buddha. Jian Wushuang is almost catching up with Huiqing, yet he still can't see the shadow of Tong Tian Buddha. Now they are all 60,000 steps. The forecast is 100,000 steps. Jian Wushuang can now see the 30,000 steps ahead. In the 30,000 steps behind, Zhen Weiyang, Sinan, Guiling Island Lord and even Gong Miaoyi still insisted. Now there are only 8 of them left. Zhen Weiyang was originally in the top 2, but was surpassed by Huiqing and Jiang Shang, and then surpassed by him. Now he has fallen to 4th. Huiqing and Jiang Shang don't know why, they are only one person, and Jian Wushuang is also very confused about this. Is only about 100 steps away from Huiqing in front. Huiqing, who was walking in front, turned his head and saw Jian Wushuang. Can't speak only above this. The two are just facing each other, each nodding. Ding. The strong on the Soul Road began to disappear one after another, from the last Gong Miaoyi to the master of Guiling Island, Situ Nan. At the forefront, Tong Tian Buddha has reached its peak. Soul Dao ladder, shattered from the first step. Zhen Weiyang is now the last one, and everyone behind has been teleported away. Began to work hard. Teleported into the hall, Jian Wushuang saw the Tong Tian Buddha being teleported in. The Tong Tian Buddha who was walking in the front was teleported in, which shows that the Tong Tian Buddha has completed the whole journey. Also saw Gong Miaoyi at the same time. Jian Wushuang. Gong Miaoyi lowered her head and muttered. She never thought that Jian Wushuang was the inheritor. Watching Jian Wushuang talk with Tong Tian Buddha, I also know the true identity of Jian Wushuang. It's just that why Jian Wushuang mixed up with the people of Keeman, no one knows, but they are all smart people and no one will take the initiative to pierce them. Junior Jian Wushuang, I met Hall Master Situ. Jian Wushuang bowed respectfully. Situ Nan had also seen Jian Wushuang, and he had been there to rescue him in the north. You don't need to be polite, I heard the Hall Master Wuzhua mentioned you. The death was also the negligence of my patriarch's palace. Situ Nen did not neglect because of Jian Wushuang's relationship with Keeman. The real spirit doesn't care, does it need him to guess? Afterwards, Situ Nen spoke with a twist, took out a piece of jade slip and handed it to Jian Wushuang, with a gentle voice. Master True Spirit handed it to you. Jian Wushuang was overjoyed, and quickly took the jade slip, but after seeing the content, he was a bit bitter. A very short sentence, if you want to go to the Tomb Mountain, find it yourself. Is this an atonement? Jian Wushuang sighed. Calm, but after knowing the other's attitude, he was relieved, and now it's not bad to be able to take him in. But going to the Tomb Sacred Mountain, there is no absolute strength, no certainty at all. Even if he is the inheritor, the keeper will not oppose him. What about those powerful special beings? He is not in harmony, and he has no chance to go to the Tomb Mountain. What can he do without the help of Tomb God Mountain? In the jade slip, there is also a simple inheritance. After seeing the inheritance, Jian Wushuang breathed a sigh of relief, and the experience of the ultimate way of harmony is recorded on the top. It's okay. Gave him a chance. Is also taking care of him. But once, he should have gone to the Tomb Mountain. Was captured by King Bai, he was also forced. It's no use thinking more. The real spirit has spread the word, and he can only listen honestly. Almost 10 years have passed, and everyone has been teleported here. https://mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5437. Jian Wushuang and Hui Qing finally met. I've actually seen it many times, but I didn't have a chance to recognize each other. Brother Wushuang. Hui Qing's eyes flashed. Jian Wushuang is also very happy. In the Temple of Qishan, the only person who has trouble and friendship is Hui Qing, and he is a person who can be completely trusted. I haven't seen you in so many years. In a blink of an eye, almost 10,000 years have passed. The two set up an enchantment and began to talk about their experiences over the years. Jian Wushuang's own affairs, it's really hard to say, it can only be vaguely past. Hui Qing also knows that he has had a hard time over the years, and did not ask much. He learned something about the Tomb God Mountain from Hui Qing. The Tomb Mountain is as cruel as the original star. On the primordial star, at least it is difficult for the Taoist to fall. Can be on the Tomb Mountain, these years, even the ultimate Taoist priest has fallen a lot. Comfortable environment is available everywhere, but it depends on the strength. The powerful emperor, just like Shang, there is no one who can threaten him in the Temple of Qishan, and he has gone to the long river of time and space. Even explored the long river of time and space, beheading countless chaotic monsters of the Sixth Order and even the most extreme. This long river of time and space has been walked almost once. After all, it is not like the ancient Morwa time and space, which is much stronger than their time and space river. Now in this long river of time and space, the number of Sixth Order emperors is not as good as the aboriginals of the four secret realms. Is also much higher in quality. In the long river of time and space, countless universes. There are many powerhouses born. A single round of Tier 4 monarchs is probably countless times more than the four great secret realms, but there is almost no difference between Tier 5 monarchs, and Tier 6 monarchs are not as good as the four great secret realms. From the perspective of Jian Wushuang, there are probably more than 10,000 of the Sixth Order emperors in the Tiannan of the earth. There are at least thousands of people in a country like Daxia. Plus some lonely Sixth Order emperors, tens of thousands are conservative. Hui Qing had an expression, remembering something, and quickly introduced, Brother Wushuang, this is my disciple, Jiang Shang. Younger Jiang Shang has met Wushuang's senior. Jiang Shang leaked a smile, but at the bottom of his heart was prepared for Jian Wushuang. She has always felt that this person has some kind of evil aura, very similar to the murderer who killed her brother. Jian Wushuang knew about it for a long time, but he still leaked a surprised expression. That little novice monk once now has apprentices, and both the master and apprentice are the Fifth Order peak emperors. But the first time I met, Jian Wushuang still took out a treasure from the mustard seeds as a meeting ceremony. Soul-locking jade he obtained from the opponent's mustard seeds by killing the great prince Mo Luo, which is also a rare treasure. The other party may not be able to look at it, but he is interested. Jian Wushuang handed this thing to Jiang Shang and smiled lightly. You master and apprentice are both emperors now, don't dislike it. Jiang Shang took the soul-locking jade, and after thanking him, he stopped talking. After a while, Zhenwiang also came over. Hui Qing quickly cancelled the enchantment. Jian Wushuang. Zhenwiang lost the majesty he once had, and replaced it with a gentle expression. Seeing the incoming person, Jian Wushuang hurriedly bowed and said respectfully, I have seen the emperor. You are polite, we are all the same now, no need to be like this. I talked a lot with Zhenwiang, talking about Xiaodigen and Gongziyan. But they all fell. Qi Temple robbed all the strong in the Yanxian realm, and then carried out a cruel screening. None of the strong masters in the Great Division's domain could enter the Tomb Mountain, and the one who walked the farthest went to Primordial Star and fell into the hands of the devouring demon lord. Some retired people returned to Desiyu and told Zhenwiang's law bodies. At this moment, they have all undergone great changes. Facing those who are very familiar, although they have fallen, there is no sadness. Especially Zhenwiang, it is his children who have clearly fallen, but there is no regret. In their opinion, those who are screened out are the strong, and those who fall are the weak. There is nothing to be a pity. Believe in the strong, is king, but also domineering. Everything has to look forward. Jian Wushuang himself also came out of the ordinary, and he has done a lot of stupid things. He once gave up everything for the Taoist couple, but turned his head into a dream. It's better to let everything in the past become a line, floating there. Some things in the past, the two only chatted a little, and they talked more about the murals here. People who have seen the mural are all shocked. Fortune-telling. If it is a short-term forecast, it is nothing. Let Jian Wushuang predict a mortal, it can be said to be pretty sure. It would be difficult for him to predict an emperor. Even if he is also an emperor, he can't tell. Especially from ancient times to the present. This is simply unbelievable. In the Tomb God Mountain, they have never heard of such a thing. But their appearance appears on the murals here. They also wondered if this scene would only appear on the mural when they came in. But there are 3 people who have no face or breath. If they really changed when they came, why didn't they show the faces of Jian Wushuang, Hui Qing, and Jiang Shang? If it were true, it would be terrible. Zhenwiang and others were originally planning to send a message to the real spirit, but they found that there was no way to contact the outside world. Just when everyone was puzzled, Jian Wushuang always felt that there was something wrong. Where did the Zishan, the first one to enter the palace of 3 kings, go? From Jin to the present, I haven't seen any figure. If a few people disappear, it's okay to say, but he alone disappears. Was the first one to come in. Disappeared. The others didn't care much, but Jian Wushuang began to be wary. The 5th Order emperors have all entered here. Zishan's strength shouldn't be denied. Could it be that there is something strange here? At this moment, the hall trembled for a while. Jian Wushuang and the others looked up. It was okay if they didn't look up. When they looked up, they almost frightened them to get down. 6th Order Emperor, and even the ultimate emperor, felt that the younger generations were sweating coldly. On top of their heads, has dozens of corpses suspended. Normally, some corpses are nothing more than ordinary people are not afraid of them, let alone strong people like them. But I took a closer look. These corpses are not other people, they are their own flesh. Boom. Jian Wushuang's scalp was numb, and he backed away quickly, then looked down at his arm. His other clone was broken long before he came out of the Soul Road. In order not to be discovered by others, he was broken long ago. Is the deity now? All the treasures are on the body, raising an arm, bursting the sleeves, leaking the arm of the candle dragon, all this is true. But how could his body hang above it, and his face is clearly a corpse, his face gray? All those present were shocked. Have they already fallen? This is impossible. Jian Wushuang inhaled an air conditioner. The rest of the people have bean-like sweat oozing out of their foreheads. The Emperor Tian Toad couldn't accept it, he directly exploded, and acted on a 5th Order Emperor of the Yuan Palace. Without any guard, he slapped the opponent's head with a palm, and the blood mist rose instantly. https://mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5438. The Fifth Order Emperor was also unlucky, and fell in surprise. Although Situ Nan didn't know what was going on, Tian Shan started to kill the emperor in the Yuan Lao Palace. He had to take action anyway, otherwise how to lead people in the future? Bold. Just when he shot, a corpse hovering in the sky fell down. It was the Fifth Order Emperor who had been killed by Emperor Tian Shan before. The fallen body trembled for a while, and then came back to life. This caused Situ Nan, who was about to do it, to stop, and looked at the person lying on the ground in surprise. You! Situ Nan couldn't believe it. After the corpse on the ground recovered, he stood up again. Then quickly backed away, and when he looked at Emperor Tanshan, he leaked a frightened look. He has just been killed once, and his memory is very deep. The moment he fell, his soul was instantly torn into two parts. One part fell, and the other returned to the body. Although he was resurrected, his soul was severely damaged. Everyone has figured out what is floating above. Feelings. Their bodies are now souls, and their bodies are floating above the pavilion. Tian Shan, you are looking for death. Although he didn't really fall, Situ Nan wouldn't let him go if he rushed to the strong man in their Senate palace. But Emperor Tian Shan, the battle power of the sixth-tier peak, is only weaker than Situ Nan, and he is not afraid of the opponent. What's more, now the owner of the Turtle Spirit Island is also there. On the inheritor's side, there is no plan to do it. Everything takes chance as the most important thing. What's the use of fighting for life and death now? It's really going to be passed on, and it needs to be contended. It needs others to do it first, and they will kill it themselves. But surprisingly, the owner of Turtle Spirit Island did not intend to help. Leaned aside with the rest of them, ignoring Emperor Tianshan's eyes. This makes Tian Shan very embarrassed. Although he is not afraid of Situ Nan, he cannot escape in such a small hall and is in danger of falling. Situ Nan, a divine clock of good fortune, descended directly from the sky, and he was about to suppress Emperor Tian Shan. The heavenly toad emperor who directly forced him turned into his body and resisted with difficulty. Don't deceive people too much. Emperor Tian Shan shouted angrily. If Situ Nan didn't cut the opponent today, where to put the back, he would be killed in front of him. Die! The of good fortune clock hummed. A sound wave attacked, and the sound made people's soul tremble. Under the waves of blows, Tian Shan could not escape, and was eventually killed by the town. The body of the sky toad floating on the top of the hall also descended. Situ Nan wanted to completely kill the opponent. At this time Guiling Island took the initiative. Heavenly Toad Emperor has now fallen from the 6th-tier peak to the 6th-tier top again, and there is no threat to him anymore. He naturally wants to keep it, and can't cut it to Situ Nan. In any case, it is also a powerful combat force. As soon as the Turtle Spirit Island Master took action, he directly stopped Situ Nan's means and said in a low voice, "Almost all right, Tian Toad is not right to do it first. If you cut his soul body, it is enough." "Ha!" Situ Nan snorted coldly and shouted angrily, "Arrogant, what are you guys? It's not enough to kill you all, a bunch of gangsters dare to compare with me." Although he said that, he started slowly, because he found that the Turtle Spirit Island Master was a bit wrong at this time. The interception just now was a very casual hand, but it contained great power and could already threaten him. Zhen Wuiyang stood up at this time, opened his mouth to relieve the encirclement and said, "Forget Brother Situ, everything is important to the overall situation." Finally, Situ Nan stepped back with a gloomy face. Facing the weird methods of the Three Kings Palace, they really focused on the overall situation. Now the body is floating above and the soul is walking below, which is quite funny. Jian Wushuang also looked up for a long time. Found that the body of the Elder Zishan was also above, but the soul was not here. It should have fallen completely. As for who was beheaded, he didn't know. But there is nothing to worry about. Now that his identity is exposed, he happens to have the patrons of the Senate Palace and the inheritors. The White King has fallen, and all his vows have been brought to the fore. He is completely free from the hands of the gods. From now on, the water in the well will not be in the river. He also hated being a for others. The White King said that he fell, and such a big and powerful man, he said that he gave up and gave up. He is just a Taoist monarch, and I am afraid that he has no value. It's better to leave early. After all, this is the temple of Qishan, the site of the gods. Even if the gods can reach the sky, there are real spirits suppressing them. Although there was an episode in the middle, the hall was shaking all the time. At the northwest corner of the main hall, the end of the mural, a small copper furnace rose, and there was an inch-large vortex in the middle. As they leaned forward, a heavy voice rang out in the hall. I am the third true king of the Three Kings' court, the heavenly emperor. This voice shocked everyone. Soul God is the strongest person with the origin of the soul. The ladder they walked up was created by the strong man. The third true king should be one of the three kings. Then did a heavy voice sounded again, entering the copper furnace to accept the inheritance. You only have 1 hour, and after 1 hour, the entire Three Kings' court will fall into the turbulence of time and space and never open. Everyone was surprised. Fell into the turbulence of time and space. That is not spatial turbulence. In the turbulent time and space, the Lord of the universe will fall, which is extremely terrifying. After the heavy voice fell, another light rose from the northeast corner of the main hall. It was a small hill with nominations, Fong Siyuan Mountain above. An ear-piercing sound came from above. Jie, a practitioner of change, quickly entered Fong Siyuan Mountain. I am the second true king thousand changes. Remember the name of this seat, don't forget it. The last sound was very sharp, and there was a lot of unwillingness in it. Although is only a few words, Jian Wushuang has learned a lot from it. There is loneliness, and the feeling of wanting to break all rules, but powerless. These two voices represent Soul Dao and Change Dao. This is also the one they have the most contact with. Two passages, especially the origin Soul Dao, many people have walked for a while. Although they finally went to the Change Dao, it is not too late to change. But it seems that some people are not ready to change. Guiling Island Lord did not hesitate, and went straight into the copper furnace. Emperor Tianshan went to Fong Siyuan Mountain. Broly, who had been sitting cross-legged in the corner, was the closest to Fong Siyuan Mountain. As if he knew that Fong Siyuan Mountain would appear there, his figure flashed in. Jian Wushuang is still waiting. He is waiting for the first true king. The old chessboard man he never forgot. Soul Dao and Transformation Dao are both side by side to him. https:// mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5439. Only on the chessboard, his improvement is the greatest. The understanding of all things exceeds the experience of all things on the ladder of change. Sure enough, he guessed it right. In the mural, a red-haired old man walked out of it, shocking everyone. Little guys, don't be afraid, I don't know how many years the old guy has fallen. The old man's face is a bit rough, his skin is red, and his belly is rounded just like when playing chess. Compared with the previous two, this first true king is more kind. A chessboard rose into the sky and appeared in front of everyone, with a sentence recorded above it. I am the creator of the Three Kings' court. No matter what the name is, you just call me a big official. I like to watch and play chess all my life. It is very boring to be my successor. Don't regret it. This passage was recorded previously, the same as the previous two. But now the first true king official appeared in front of everyone, obviously different from the previous two. The others looked around, and finally they chose the Soul Dao and the Change Dao. There is no time for them to think about it now. The chess game of the first true king in front of them is very difficult to understand, there is no clue at all, and the improvement is not great. It is better to go to the dojo of Soul Dao and Change Dao to try. Huiqing nodded towards Jian Wushuang, did not say much, and took Jiang Shang into the copper furnace. Most of the others chose the path chosen before, without much hesitation. Qishui Traveler swayed left and right. He is a special being, and Change Dao and Soul Dao are really useless to him. An amplification source and an amplification soul, neither of them is special. The special life, the special is the divine body, the structure of the divine body. The inheritance of practitioners is not very useful to him. The big official also noticed Qi Shu's hesitation, and he unexpectedly reminded him, "You have a thick skin, but you are very similar to the one-eyed guy," said, finger pointing out. A light turned into a bridge. "Here, you can only go in here, go in." Qishui Walker was overjoyed. He almost knelt down on the spot, and after a quick thank you, he plunged in. The people in the hall left, leaving Jian Wushuang alone. "Little guy, accompany the old man in the next game?" The big official waved his hand and the chessboard flew over. Jian Wushuang arched his hands, respectfully said, "It's a great honor." Then the two settled again. Jian Wushuang lost quickly this time, and finally shook his head. At first he thought he was a group of talented people, but now it seems that his talent is average. "Haha, don't be discouraged, I am the same as you, with mediocre talents at the beginning, but at the end I couldn't figure out the mystery of this board." Jian Wushuang doubted. "Senior, your origin does not seem to be in line with the chessboard?" "Yes, I'm just hard-headed, because a treasure that has delayed my life. I am very happy that you can give up prematurely. After passing the first level, does the little guy want to become my successor?" The official looked at Jian Wushuang with a little interest. Jian Wushuang did not hesitate this time, and immediately spoke directly, "Junior is willing." He also left the hall and entered the chessboard. The space on the chessboard is very stable. When Jian Wushuang came in, he all fell from the sky, and he didn't change the space as he did in the past. Obviously he did not leave the hall, but the chessboard itself was in the hall, and he was actually still in the hall. The great official came here afterwards. Looking at Jian Wushuang, his voice also changed to be gentle, and became a little serious. "Jian Wushuang, his name is very good, he has the spirit of killing. Thank you, predecessor, for the praise." Jian Wushuang smiled lightly. The big official waved his hand, and the two of them entered directly into a huge coliseum. "How about it, is it true enough?" Jian Wushuang was surprised and said, "Space changes, and the strength of the seniors reaches the sky. This space is very real, and some of the figures are indistinguishable from living creatures. Haha, it's up to you next, the second level may be difficult, fight higher." The official pointed at a giant beast in the cage below. Seeing that the strength should be at the level of the emperor, it is considered to be an ancient alien species, which is a level stronger than the ordinary cultivator emperor. That giant beast, on the surface of the second-order emperor, but it can be comparable to the third-order emperor. In ancient times, it was more difficult to fight higher than it is now, because the emperors of that period were much stronger than the incomplete emperors of the four great secret realms. He was able to slay the fifth rank in the four great secret realms, and in the true ancient times, he could be comparable to the fifth rank at best. Will be one grade lower, but that's enough. The consciousness of the first true king should have been left before his fall, without any discernment ability, and still not knowing Jian Wushuang's true combat power. Otherwise, I wouldn't come up with such a stretched behemoth. Is only comparable to the third-order emperor, who is it to look down on? Jian Wushuang flew directly and fell into the center of the Colosseum. Fell heavily, flying off the dust. The giant beast was also released from the cage. Jian Wushuang just condensed a sword aura, flew out instantly, directly pierced into the beast's eyebrows. After the sword aura entered the beast's body, it turned into a sword shadow, and directly cut the beast into a number in the most perfect way. 100,000 thin slices of meat. The big officials in this scene are shocking. For a while, he was a little confused about Jian Wushuang's strength. If it were to simply kill the giant beast, he would not be too shocked. It would be unbelievable to kill the giant beast this way. The message passed in the Three Kings' court, Jian Wushuang is indeed just a Taoist monarch. "Senior, how is it?" Jian Wushuang casually grabbed a thin and transparent piece of meat and handed it to the official. He can see that the corners of the opponent's eyes are shaking. Has fallen for countless years. Can be remembered yesterday, still in ancient times. The great official carefully recalled those Dao monarchs under his command. It seems that the most defying Dao monarchs are comparable to the fourth-order emperors. Ahem, it's not bad, but this is just an appetizer. The next thing you have to fight against is not the Emperor, but just a Taoist like you, but don't be careless. This Taoist was my three kings' court before his death. The first monarch, said and pointed out, a figure appeared in the Colosseum. It was a young man in a silver armor with a tiger head helmet on his head. British and powerful. This time the opponent is extraordinary. A Taoist who can be strong into this way should be the ultimate way, and he is also a Taoist who has reached the 9th level of the ultimate way. Jian Wushuang re-entered the field, staring intently, and his thought power spread to the audience. The opponent is the ultimate Taoist, but I don't know which ultimate way he has mastered. You want to challenge me? The silver armor boy looked at Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang was a little embarrassed. He didn't expect that the other party would still talk. He originally thought it was just a metamorphosis. https://mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5440. But since the other party can speak and is conscious, he has to be serious. The other party is the ultimate way like him, and he still has respect in his heart. In Xia Jian Wushuang, please advise. Jian Wushuang waved his hand, and a long sword appeared in his hand. Silver armor boy, raising his arrogant head, with high fighting spirit, said coldly, "My god of war is Gundam, remember my title." After speaking, he turned into a white tiger beast and rushed forward. The momentum is unstoppable. Has at least tier 4 top combat power. This level is not a threat to Jian Wushuang, but he dare not care about it. In case the other party has any means, it will be no good for him to capsize the ship again. A fierce claw tore through the sky, and it came to him in an instant. But facing the white tiger beast, Jian Wushuang saw the deity of the silver-armored boy Gundam at a glance. This kind of fierce offense, if you want to crack it, you have to defeat it head-on. Jian Wushuang made a sword and pointed directly at Gundam. This sword was at least tier 4 peak combat power, and the opponent had to stop and resist this sword, otherwise he would have to fall. Snapped. He didn't expect the other party. Not only did he not stop, he even increased his strength, and his breath increased again and again. Jian Wushuang received that sharp claw first, and slipped through the outer robe, leaking the dark red inner armor. The hard claws touched the soft armor, and there was no loud noise. Jian Wushuang's chest sank. It was impossible to break his inner armor, but he could withstand a lot of the huge impact. But the opponent's strength is still close. He hasn't been injured yet. And now it's his turn. A sword pierced out and pointed directly at the center of the eyebrows. The white tiger helmet that went up to the next moment directly wrapped the head. Jian Wushuang's sword had a very small impact and did not pierce the helmet. Naturally, it didn't hurt much, but even so, Gundam was still slightly injured. A full blow from the fourth order pinnacle, without breaking the helmet. The battle armor on the opponent's body is at least imitation of the eternal treasure, and it is still very top-notch. Innate supreme treasure, Jian Wushuang can break it, and what can block him is also an imitation of eternal treasure. As for the true treasure of eternity, even if the most powerful ones are not broken, let alone him. The opponent was able to block it, and he expected that the first monarch of the Three Kings' court had the eternal treasure on his body, and it was not unusual for him. Gundam was repulsed, revealing a shocked look, and said in surprise, "Are you also a Taoist?" Otherwise, Jian Wushuang smiled slightly. Although the opponent is the first monarch of the Three Kings' court, his status is not too high, and he can't even enter the eyes of the Three Kings. Even if the combat power is no matter how strong it is and the talent is strong, it may not be able to walk along the way, let alone become the Lord of the universe. For these talented Tao monarchs, at best, they will cultivate more, not as exaggerated as the current Qixin Temple. The former is to cultivate elites, while the latter is to screen inheritors, which is different. In terms of knowledge and realm, Jian Wushuang surpassed Gundam too much. The opponent's space realm is not stable in the star realm, and the 2 stars surrounding it are very small. Jian Wushuang has already mastered the power of half a black hole. How powerful this is! You are too close. The sword without hands, the ancient sword rose, and the punishment came. After the punishment, it was Zhenfeng. Let's fall. Numerous sword intents rose up, and the word of the town came out, and then this ancient dynasty, the famous Taoist monarch, was directly sealed. The extreme path expands, and the power of thought moves, the sealed divine body and flesh are shattering, and the origin has entered the black hole that Jian Wushuang transformed into. It seems that it is easy to defeat the opponent, but in fact, the strength of the opponent is still very good. It is about the fourth order peak. Especially when he resisted his sword at the end, the aura that erupted was very strong. This kind of Taoist who has reached perfection in the ultimate path should not be underestimated. No one is simple. The first true king looked at his eyes hot. Jian Wushuang's potential and strength exceeded his expectations. Originally, he thought that Jian Wushuang's ultimate path would not be long-term, but now it seems that it is beyond his cognition. A Taoist is so strong that he was not so strong when he was a Taoist. Senior, have you ever counted this level? Jian Wushuang put away his long sword, volleyed into the sky, and arrived in front of the official. De Guanzi didn't say much. This space disappeared in an instant, and the two were back on the chessboard. Not bad, but it's not that simple to get my heritage. After finishing speaking, the first true king began to explode with a strong aura, but the power is not strong, it is only in the realm of Taoist monarchs. Jian Wushuang is a bit wrong. What does it mean? The official said indifferently, according to my original plan, defeat Gundam, you will be able to become my successor, but now I have changed my mind. Beat me is your only way out now. Jian Wushuang was shocked. What? Defeat the first true king? How can that be? Even though I know that the aura on the opponent's body is only Dao Jun, the realm is a bit worse. The opponent is the overlord-level powerhouse in Morwa time and space in ancient times. Even if his strength is suppressed to Dao Sovereign, he is definitely not an opponent. His little realm of space, in front of the strong man who has already walked through the space and stepped onto the origin of time, he is nothing. Half a black hole state. It's okay to deal with other people, it's too shabby to deal with an old monster. The big official thought that this frightened Jian Wushuang, but he didn't know that Jian Wushuang had not been frightened, but became very excited. The harder it is, the more he receives. As for failure, he never thought, nor doubted that he would fail. Want to defeat the first true king? What he needs is not the realm, what he wants is the power to surpass the first true king. The realm of the first true king is very high, but the origin is at the limit of the Taoist, which seems to be the ultimate way. Even if it is the 9th level of the ultimate way, he is not empty. He also defeated a Taoist who had the ultimate path to consummation. As for the divine body, Jian Wushuang could only feel that the phantom in the opponent's body was 30,000 times the divine body, while the physical body was normal. Even if the realm of space has reached consummation, the origin of time has gone a long way, but the combat power that these can transform into is limited. It is unrealistic for a Taoist to show such great combat power. Jian Wushuang's fighting spirit rose, and resolutely said, "Offended, burst out with all strength. There was no hiding, and he didn't need to hide anything in front of a dead person. The divine body began to expand, from 15,000 times the base to 30,000 times. Then incarnate into the demon body. Change through the ages." Jian Wushuang didn't expect that the secret method of increasing the origin of the ages would be able to have a miraculous effect on the devil power. Both the divine body and the origin are climbing, and the physical body is tough and shows no signs of being unsupported. Originally thought Jian Wushuang's body would not be able to withstand such a powerful force, but seeing the back, the official was stunned. https://mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5441. How can be so strong? The transformed into a heavenly demon body has reached its 12 arms. This is the most perfect heavenly demon body, the true body of an ancient heavenly demon. The ancient celestial demon clan is not a powerful race. The strongest is not the most powerful, and the great officials may not have heard of it. 12-armed heavenly demon, 50,000 times the divine body, this kind of genius is so fair to tell the truth, it may not be as powerful as the genius created by King White. Ku Jian Wushuang, as a Taoist monarch, has gone through the unique school created by Zhu Dian, which is very outrageous. 50,000 times the divine body, Jian Wushuang felt every particle in his body tremble. This force is too strong. The origin of space has been increased to 70% of the black hole realm. At this moment, Jian Wushuang is like the real body of a demon, and the hot power behind it is a black hole. The towering 12-armed celestial demon has a huge black hole behind it. This scene has only appeared in ancient times. Even if he was a Tier 5 pinnacle in front of him, Jian Wushuang felt that he could smash the opponent with one punch. Boom. A breath changes. Jian Wushuang came up to perform melee combat directly, without any fancy moves, only the violent attack with one punch. The power of all things is like pouring sea water, sprinkled from the sky, and the power consumed every moment is comparable to a fourth-order emperor. Snapped. The first true king and the official, after hardly resisting Jian Wushuang's punch, his figure suddenly retreated. That power is too strong. Although it surpassed Jian Wushuang a lot in the realm of, it was not good at head-to-head. This is beyond his cognition. He is the Lord of the universe, the former three kings, and he has never seen such a powerful Taoist monarch. In countless epics, he reminisces carefully. Once stepping in the starry sky, Morua has never encountered such a heaven-defying Taoist. Can be compared with Jian Wushuang, it is probably the dome that shattered the Three Kings' court. The life born from the giant egg is not a special life, nor is it an innate beast god, but comes from a starry sky group. In the starry sky, he recognized the birth of a life against the sky, but Jian Wushuang is a human cultivator. Why is he so strong? The level of life is also very high, and the physical body has reached a perfect state, and every particle in the body is transforming into a steady stream of power. The origin is so strong that he is ashamed as the Lord of the universe. The origin of a Taoist monarch, comparable to a sixth-order emperor. The more I hit, the more shocked. Finally, he pulled back his figure, facing Jian Wushuang in a distance, and began to perform his unique skills. Head-to-head, he really can't do anything with Jian Wushuang. But it's not the same if it's a secret technique. Even if he simply uses space, he can control the space here. This is the power of the universe. Condensation. The space began to twist, and Jian Wushuang, who was scared, could not retreat. When he wanted to get close to the big official, he had already hit the opponent's face with a punch, but after turning his head, he had already reached another space. Can't meet a big official. Jian Wushuang turned into a black hole. It was too slow to travel through space. This is space. Jian Wushuang took a deep breath, and this wave was not lost. Although he couldn't win, he had a close look at the rules and mysteries of the universe. That is, the superposition of layers of space. Only two stars are vertically and horizontally in all the space, and then the black hole evolves into the universe. And Jian Wushuang himself, just like those two stars, some creatures can only be at the bottom. The great official who has successfully cultivated the space is already the king, standing proudly in the 10-layer space, holding the sun, moon, and stars in his hands. The universe, it is incredible. Although Jian Wushuang was powerless, he had not completely given up. He still has the strongest hole card. No matter what treasure he gets, it is not as good as that one. The big official grasped the sun and the moon and said calmly, "Don't give up yet?" "No way!" Jian Wushuang yelled. "The universe, not only you own it." The power of thought spread, the black hole behind Jian Wushuang disappeared, and all the breath of space was evading and dissipating. One thought. Jian Wushuang closed his eyes slightly, pinched his hands with his hands, erected his human figure, and restored his original appearance. At this moment, with him as the center, the power of thought is scattered and transformed into space, the power of swallowing condenses into a black hole, and the power of all things is multiplying in the universe. Boom! Jian Wushuang suddenly opened his eyes and shouted, "Universe, get up!" A real and huge universe descended in an instant, enclosing the first true king and great official. The big official stared his eyebrows and looked around. That familiar breath, he knew a little bit. Is too familiar, that is the power he once mastered, the power of the universe. It is rising, gradually suppressing the cosmic space he displays. There is no way that there is only the power of the Taoist, and the space of the universe is so large. Jian Wushuang is different. His one-mind universe is related to mind power, swallowing, and all things. The stronger these three are, the stronger his one-mind universe will be. Millions of miles before, to hundreds of millions of miles later. Now the universe of one mind that he displays is already comparable to a medium-sized world. Is the same size as the former big division domain. After he became the emperor, the universe of one mind that he displayed would be comparable to the higher world. When he was the Lord of the universe, I was afraid that he could directly descend into a universe by himself. At that time, it was truly invincible. Is just the universe, it is illusory after all, it would be great if it could become real. If this idea let the big official know, I'm afraid he would point to Jian Wushuang's nose and curse, idiotically dreaming. In my universe, the enemy either escapes or is defeated. Jian Wushuang was in a good mood, and even dared to tease the first true king. Now the other party really can't escape. Can only choose to head with him. Once again turned into a 12-armed demon, the candle dragon's wings widened, you reading www. The arm of the candle dragon at a conchu. Calm lifted slightly, and suddenly made a fist, and a black hole was collapsing. This force caused Jian Wushuang's confidence to burst, and he directly killed the official. Not only does he want to beat the opponent, he also beats the opponent violently. Boom. 1 punch, 2 punches, 10,000 punches. Like raindrops pouring down. Slammed on the mellow belly of the official, but I don't know how precious the other party's clothes are, but it won't be bad. You must know that Jian Wushuang's robe has long been torn now, and there are few cloth strips on his body. There is only a dark red light armor. 12 arms, each holding the sun and the moon. Especially the one with the arm of the candle dragon, the fist turned into a black hole, and the big official flew out hundreds of millions of miles with 1 punch. After that, his figure did not move. Tens of thousands of miles away, there was another Jian Wushuang who was exactly the same, with his hands clenched, 6 fists, and the younger generation who wanted to bend down by the big official, he straightened his body. The shape is also similar to Kuju, and it has been transferred to the original position of Jian Wushuang. For a time, in the universe of one mind, several Jian Wushuang appeared, and they passed on, and they really beat the real king. https:// mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5442. Fortunately, it is just a consciousness. If this is a true king, Jian Wushuang would not dare to do this. This is disrespectful. However, the first true king really didn't care very much. He still admired Jian Wushuang for being beaten up. No wonder you can't be predicted, you are indeed a person of bad luck. I am afraid it has something to do with the stars. When the big official was beaten up, he was still laughing in his heart, thinking about Jian Wushuang's identity. In the starry sky, there are so many long rivers of time and space, and the strong people are different. For example, in the original Morwa time and space, characters like the gods could appear. Compared with the long river of time and space where the original universe is now, there is not even a master of the universe, so it is extremely stretched. The unpredictable powerhouses of the 3 kings, except Jian Wushuang, are Hui Qing and Jiang Shang. These 2 have gone to the inheritance space established by the Soul Heaven Emperor. Went to accept the inheritance of Soul Dao. If you want to talk about them, whoever has the most hope to get the complete inheritance, I am afraid it is Broly. Change the way to the strong, almost stable. Going through the entire 4 secret realms, and even all the people in the original universe, together, I am afraid that there is only such a powerful person of change. And on the mural, it was predicted long ago that Broly would go in Fangkunshan to accept the complete inheritance. Jian Wushuang and Hui Qing, these faceless people, did not predict where they would go. I really want to predict, with Jian Wushuang's current mentality, he will not enter the inheritance of prediction. Once bitten, twice shy. Was so used by the gods, he was really scared. The fall of the White King is unknown, and he also resurrected a universe lord, Fiego, who walked out of the starry sky next time. Will he ask him to resurrect the dome? After all, his power of all things can revive all things and resurrect a dome. It should be fine too. At this point, Jian Wushuang really guessed it right. The was really ready to swallow him at the beginning, but Jian Wushuang at that time was too weak, and he couldn't restore the strength of the if he swallowed it. But he has said goodbye to everything before, and he will never have any contact with the gods in the future. At the same time, the once again tossed the big official man out. Although it can severely injure the opponent, it can't really kill it, and it's difficult to defeat it. The opponent is like a ball of cotton, and it can't be beaten at all. Jian Wushuang has the illusion that the realm of the Master of the Universe shouldn't be just this capable. Senior, aren't you ready to use your full strength? He couldn't help but look at the big official. If he continued to fight like this, if he wanted to consume all his power, then he would just think too much. Was just at the beginning, and he consumed a lot of the power of all things in his wild shots, but most of the subsequent melee combat did not consume too much, and it continued to derive, and he even fully restored the power of all things. The first true king finally stabilized his figure, and said unexpectedly, "It seems that your knowledge is extraordinary, and you even understand the methods of the Lord of the Universe." A Taoist, a clear emperor's method, even if it is good, it is not realistic to be able to understand even the Lord of the Universe. In fact, Jian Wushuang didn't know much, but he had swallowed a wisp of the origin of the Lord of the Universe, and learned a lot from it. Of course, it was just some fur, but it was much better than those who knew nothing about the emperor. The rest of the people, especially the emperors of the primitive universe, don't even talk about the Lord of the Universe. They don't know much about Zhu Dian. Is also in the temple of Qixin, it is considered to have gained a little insight. Senior Miao praised it. His mouth was polite, but his action was extremely harsh. There is no way, there is too much difference in realm. The moves of the ultimate kendo can't be used, and they can only fight hand to hand, relying on the powerful divine body to suppress the opponent, so it seems that some do not conform to the style of the strong, and the methods are so simple. The big official dodges a punch, and then another punch in the face. This time he didn't have more, his lips moved slightly and he said calmly, "Set." Silence. When the fixed character exits, the time flow rate drops suddenly and it has reached a stop state. Jian Wushuang was frozen in midair. The first true king, retreat leisurely. Yep, punched out. Jian Wushuang was a little surprised. This is his universe, no matter how high the space realm of the big official is, it can't be so fast, it's obviously on the opponent's face, but he is empty. And with the punch just now, he felt that he was slowing down. He always feels that something is wrong there. I can't say that something went wrong there. When rushed over again, he deliberately separated 16 avatars and doubled the big official, but this time he also missed. Something's wrong. Jian Wushuang stopped his figure, not doing anything. The first true king shook his finger and said calmly, "Quick." Jian Wushuang suddenly felt that his whole person was being swallowed by a force, his face was constantly changing haggard, and his breath was weakening. He obviously just stepped back, but he felt the feeling of walking for countless years. That kind of exhaustion made his mental outlook change. It was only a moment, but he had passed thousands of years. It's time. Jian Wushuang's eyes were shocked. Only time can make them so passive, and he is a little at a loss for this method. Even if you are the Lord of the Universe, it is impossible to change the flow of time at will. This is not the kind of tattered stuff like the time house that can be compared. His time flow has become faster, but the opponent's time flow is still normal. And it was just a moment, he has passed 10,000 years, this acceleration is a bit too fast. Although the face of the first true king was calm, he was even more shocked by Jian Wushuang in his heart. The first time he changed time, he used his own time origin, but he could only hold Jian Wushuang in this universe for an instant. Can't help but Jian Wushuang can only rely on other powers to let time pass instantly and directly weaken Jian Wushuang's strength to a weak state. The current Jian Wushuang, the divine body can't even maintain 10,000 times, the demon body is already broken, and the origin is also very weak. Decayed all at once. This is the first time Jian Wushuang encountered this method. One thought that the universe has already collapsed. Lost. Jian Wushuang touched his cheek, feeling real, he was a little unwilling. It's too bad, he tried his best. I once extracted some mysteries from the origin of the universe and learned a lot. Although I only learned a little about time, I don't think it is as exaggerated as it is now. Only the Taoist level, how can you use your time to such an outrageous level? If this is the heyday, he will be finished at a glance. It is not to kill him or suppress him, but to let time obliterate him. Although the lifespan of a fairy can be said to be unlimited, once the soul weakens and the will of the soul weakens, it will collapse itself. Only the origin and the body are eternal. The divine body will be lost. https:// mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5443. The physical body can be fused with other treasures, comparable to the eternal treasure, and exist forever. The origin is a kind of cosmic matter. No matter how powerful it is, the origin returns to the universe, and it will not dissipate. What disappears is either swallowed by Jian Wushuang or suppressed. The big official also received his magical powers, and looked at Jian Wushuang and said quietly, "You won." Is indeed Jian Wushuang won. The last resort, he used a treasure. The battle between him and Jian Wushuang was originally proposed temporarily, so there is no clear stipulation. Even he can put water. 1. Jian Wushuang was puzzled. The official said indifferently, "Yes, you won. You have won me now. You have passed the last level. The next inheritance is a bit beyond your imagination. You have to be prepared." Prepared mind. Jian Wushuang's face leaked a weird smile. It is not easy to exceed his imagination. Now he has a beast weapon on his body. Although it is incomplete, it is not a problem for him to make a semi-finished product in the Qishan temple. He has also mastered the heaven-defying origin of Jidao, and has surpassed all inheritance. I won't talk about the rest, what else can be surpassed just for these two? As for insight, he once walked the stars, lived for hundreds of millions of years, and witnessed countless miracles. The primitive creature of a star, the birth and reproduction of the race, the structure of the starry sky. All these are the most expensive experiences. It's not that he looks down on the first true king, these 3 palaces are still a lot worse than the Qishan temple. At least there was a lot of difference in this row, and the ending was even worse. The 3 kings were killed by Fuego. If it weren't for the temple of Qishan, I'm afraid this relic would not be left. Originally, he still had great hopes for the 3 kings' court, but when he came in, he found that it was too crude. He wanted to see what inheritance it was. Could he come up with a complete universe origin? If this were the case, he would have taken a look at the real king. The big official raised his hand and slowly controlled his fingers, with a miniature chessboard on the palm of his hand. Do you know what level of treasure is above the eternal treasure? The first true king's eyes were a little hot. This is the glory of his life. Jian Wushuang didn't understand why suddenly he talked about the treasure. Above the eternal treasure, there is also the treasure of the universe. He knows this, or the Mountain King told him at the beginning. Is just a treasure of the universe, it must be displayed only when the origin reaches the realm of the universe, and it is useless for them. The origin of space has reached the realm of the universe, and it has almost become the master of the universe. The treasures of the universe are mostly used by the Lord of the universe, and are not of much help to the emperor, so Jian Wushuang did not know much about it. As for treasures that are more powerful than the treasures of the universe, he doesn't know. According to the old man with horns, the beasts are only special. They are better than the ordinary treasures of the universe, but in the final analysis, they are still the level of the treasures of the universe. Regarding the question of the big official, Jian Wushuang didn't know, and shook his head. Looking at the chessboard in the opponent's hand, his heart sank. Could it be that this chessboard is stronger than the treasure of the universe? Come in and take a look. let you see a treasure that is stronger than the treasure of the universe. The big official took Jian Wushuang into the river at the core of the chessboard. In the river, there is a huge reef with a small pavilion on it, and there are no seats in it. The two of them just stood there. Jian Wushuang looked at the turbulent river, where not only the power of space turbulence, but also time flows. This is the long river of time and space. One piece of supreme treasure can contain a long river of time and space. Although it is only a reduced version of the time and space river, it still shocked Jian Wushuang. He has not seen the real time and space river, but has spied on it from some inheritors. The most intuitive time was to see the long rivers of time and space in the starry sky, but the distance was too far, and those rivers of time and space were like bloodlines. More powerful than the treasure of the universe, it is the treasure of time and space, and this chessboard where you and I are located. The big official was a little proud, seeing the sword without double-sided shaking, and continued, I can tell you clearly. In the original Morwa time and space, this treasure can be ranked in the top 3, or even the top 2. The time and space treasure is too powerful, even if the Lord of the Universe gets it, it will not take it out. There are only 2 that were actually born, one in the hands of the gods. One is in the hands of another strong man who is not weaker than the gods. There is only one God of God. Jian Wushuang was shocked. Doesn't it mean that Qixin is very coveted for this treasure? Senior, is the piece in the hands of Qixin a great haul? Jian Wushuang was a little curious. The temple of Qixin is very special. If the treasure of time and space in Qixin's hands is not the temple of Qixin, it means that there is another treasure of time and space. The official stunned for a moment, and said, the temple of Qixin? He really didn't know this. Although it was speculated that someone had come to this ruin, he hadn't been against the sky yet to speculate on the gods. I used this chessboard to predict the future. Jian Wushuang found that the other party didn't know it. It seemed that he was overestimating, so he quickly turned the subject off and asked about the chessboard. The treasure of time and space, you can and don't ask for it. When he first obtained this chessboard, the big official was still mundane. He played chess with an old man in the mundane world. He played for 10 days and 10 nights without a moment of rest. In the end, he won the game and got this board. The luster in the big official's eyes lit up, and his voice trembled. I went from the mundane to the extreme of the red immortal, until I reached the peak of the universe. I never saw that senior again. He is the real mighty one. I will wait. It's just ants. Yep. It is an exaggeration to give a treasure of time and space directly to a mortal. How powerful the opponent is. You reading www.akanshu.com. At least the Lord of the Universe would not be generous enough to give a mortal a treasure of the universe. Is at best an eternal treasure, which can be refined by oneself, which is not precious to the Lord of the Universe. Can easily produce a time and space treasure, the opponent's courage and strength. Xian Yi was not so generous back then. Does that senior leave no name? Jian Wushuang asked cautiously. He had a hunch that this treasure would be given to him. Otherwise, it would not set up such a perverted level. The first true king hesitated a little, not knowing whether to say it or not, but he has fallen, and there is nothing to say, so he said, it's just a mundane name, I don't know if it is true or not. Gu Yi. Jian Wushuang brows slightly Zhou Qi. Koichi. Why is this name so similar to Xian Yi? Is just one word away. Just as he was thinking about it, a dilapidated and dark ancient ship drifted from the river. Followed, there was a peculiar wind bell. https:// mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5444. Jian Wushuang thought that this ancient ship existed in this long river of time and space, so he was not too surprised. But the big official was stunned. He was the owner of this treasure. He never knew that there were other things in this river besides this reef. Jian Wushuang on the side of also saw the strangeness, and found that the big official's complexion was not right, and quickly backed away. Little guy. An old man on the ancient boat, with his back to them, stood at the bow of the ship, with a simple robe set off a somewhat thin body. This voice? Jian Wushuang heard this voice and leaked a shocked expression. This voice was too familiar to him. Is that you? Teacher Xian? Jian Wushuang couldn't believe it. The big official was also stunned. That back view. He is also very familiar. Although it was only 10 days of contact, he remembered it for a lifetime. From the mundane to the peak, he has never forgotten the mentor. One game of chess will benefit him for life. A treasure, let him go to the top. Jian Wushuang seems to have come to understand that Gu Yi is Xian Yi. Today's meeting, I am afraid that they have been planning since ancient times. Neither the true spirit nor the nose, a great existence is also planning here. The first true king of the Three Kings court, the senior official directly knelt on the ground, paying respect to the old man on the ancient boat. Teacher Xian Yi. Jian Wushuang also bowed. The old man on the ancient boat slowly turned around, revealing that familiar face, gentle and elegant. Don't be surprised. This is just an incarnation of my spiritual consciousness. My real body is not in this time and space. This chess card is left in Morwa time and space as a teacher. It is waiting for today. It seems that you are really the chosen one. People. Zuaniki's words made Jian Wushuang a little confused. The chosen person, the plan of the ancient times? The big official who was kneeling on the ground did not dare to look up, and squatted respectfully on the ground. Jian Wushuang had many questions in his heart that he wanted to ask, but he didn't know where to start. Everything, when you meet my true body, you will know that this chessboard is the only treasure I have left here. It was originally prepared for you. Xianyi said calmly. Everything. Began to train him since he was weak, and once again reincarnation. Jian Wushuang took a deep breath, suddenly a little in a daze. I remembered all kinds of things in the past. That stalwart figure, and those things in the past. Everything seems to be clear now. He is still a chess piece after all. But this is also mutual. He needs treasures to improve himself, and others also need him as a chess piece with potential. This chessboard is great. Stands for everything. Teacher Xian Yi, where should I find you? Jian Wushuang still couldn't help but asked. I am no longer in the space. If you want to find me, let time chase after me. Xuani left the sentence, and the ancient ship began to faintly disappear. Jian Wushuang was a little bit reluctant. Even though it was a chess piece, he never forgot the great favor of the opponent. Seeing Xian Yi disappear, there are mixed flavors in my heart. Is unwilling but also unwilling. What's unwilling to do is that his strength is too weak. After all, he is a pawn. This is the gap between him and the strong. If you want to make up for it, you have to become stronger. My heart is bitter, and the feeling of reluctance is a memory of the past. Since his strength is getting stronger and stronger, he is standing higher and higher. He is farther and farther away from love. He doesn't distinguish between right and wrong. He only looks at the pros and cons. He respects the kingly way, that is, the way of the strong. But these years, I was disgusted with what I did. Maybe it's time to change. Grace is kindness. Affection is affection. Everything must be divided into pieces. Will change everything, but it can't change the obsession in his Jian Wushuang's heart, the road to the strong. If calculated by time, he doesn't want to meet Xian Yi at the end, and is more willing to pass the opponent in the middle. Already gone. Jian Wushuang sighed and looked down at the first true king who was kneeling on the ground. Found that the other party had already lost his spiritual sense, and the prostrate official had turned into an empty shell. It seems that it was taken away by teacher Xian Yi, or it was self-defeating. People who have fallen, let them go. Now he is the only one left, so clean as never before. Sat cross-legged in the pavilion, closed his eyes and rested. Is a chessboard in his origin. Guantian chess game. In the center of the mini chessboard, there are 4 characters on the long river of time and space. Many chess pieces have been dropped on this mini chessboard. There is also a chess piece in it, which is very similar to Jian Wushuang. It is formed by a sword energy, which contains the complete ultimate sword. This makes Jian Wushuang very happy. I tried to participate now, but found that I couldn't touch it yet. It should be the reason for not being in control. Jian Wushuang understood. Although the chessboard is in his hands, it might not be usable. He is a Taoist now, and it is too difficult to drive this Guantian chessboard. Can't even use the chess pieces above. In addition to kendo, there are other chess pieces. Jian Wushuang chooses a chess piece with the weakest aura. Although it is not the ultimate way, it contains a strong atmosphere of earth and wood. After touching, he unconsciously entered directly into the chess piece. Within the chess piece, when he was comprehending the Tao of civil and wood, his power of perception increased 10,000 times, and he was even able to control some of its origins. These chess pieces contain all things and all things. If every one of them can enter, wouldn't it be a fortune? Jidao breakthrough right in front of my eyes. If it was not for the first true king to say that this place would collapse into the turbulence of space, he really wanted to cultivate here until the ultimate path was completed. It's better to leave first. Jian Wushuang's incarnation entered the chess pieces for enlightenment, and at the same time, he divided countless thoughts, tested the chess pieces one by one, and finally got into a few chess pieces. He can't get in if he is too strong, but he can get in for a look and improve his other origins. This chessboard is simply the treasure of cultivation. In addition to this, Guantian chessboard has a more powerful effect, but his current strength is too weak to understand the mystery. If you want to use it, at least you have to become an emperor. I can only look greedy now. But he remembered the trick that the big official just made time speed up. It was incredible. If you use this trick while fighting an enemy, you might be able to reverse the situation in an instant. Jian Wushuang slowly got up and left here with a heart move. Guantian chessboard also gradually disappeared. Without Jian Wushuang to collect it, it returned to its origin by itself. Returned to the hall again. At this time it was particularly deserted. Without waiting for him to react, he rose suddenly, and his eyes were also dark, but in the blur he saw a lot of people standing in front of them. Click. Jian Wushuang only felt his arms heavy and his movements were stiff. This time, he has completely recovered. After the soul enters the body, there will be such a situation. After he recovered, a white jade scroll also entered his mind. https://mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5445 is a chess record and a paragraph. The talk was naturally left by the big official, but it seems that it was left in the ancient times, and I didn't know Jian Wushuang. The content of is also very simple. Don't humiliate the content on the chess record. If you understand the chess record and crack the endgame, you will get the corresponding inheritance and treasure. Jian Wushuang just glanced and didn't care too much. But a picture appeared above. That was the former Three Kings Court. In the dim sky, a giant hand penetrated. That is Fuego. Apparently, this records the fall of the Three Kings. Jian Wushuang shook his head. It's time to leave here. Since he could not return directly to the Tomb Sacred Mountain, he had to go out quickly and find a place to practice behind closed doors, so that he could cultivate the Jidao and Kendo to perfection as soon as possible, so that he could prepare for Hadao. But the surrounding area is exactly the same as the hall below. How to get out is a difficult problem. Do you have to wait for everyone to come out? He doesn't want to lose face in front of Hui Qing and the others. If he can't go back, he has to find the Tomb Mountain by himself. It's better to leave early. It's best to leave the earth and go to the heaven, where it is more suitable for cultivation. In the realm, he was afraid that the gods would stare at him again, so he might as well go to the heavens and seek refuge in the Senate Palace. Wu Zhuo should give him a face and let him practice in the Senate Palace. Here. Seeing a whirlpool behind, it should be the passage to leave here. Jian Wushuang plunged into the whirlpool without hesitation. After he entered the vortex began to heal. It's just that Jian Wushuang didn't notice when he left. There is still one person here who has already left before him. The scene in the whirlpool is very similar to a black hole. Seems to have no end. But the boundary wall of this passage is very fragile. Jian Wushuang waved his hand and tore a hole, and left halfway. It's just that he didn't expect that after leaving the whirlpool, he appeared on the bottom of the Dark Devil, but went to a quiet stone room. The layout here is very simple, with stone houses lined up in a row. The sky is also dotted with stars, and it seems that I still haven't gone out. Jian Wushuang walked towards the front at will. A faint breath came, and he rushed over in a flash. But I did not expect that there was a hot spring emitting white mist in front of me, and I saw a very fragrant scene in the spring water. It's her! Jian Wushuang turned around, not looking at the people in the spring. Who? In the spring water, Gong Miaoyi, who wiped his body, pulled a red gauze to wrap his graceful figure, and floated on a blue stone platform with his toes hitting the ground. Through the white mist, he saw Jian Wushuang's tall and straight back. After looking intently, he sighed with relief after discovering that it was Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang turned his head and said calmly, "What a coincidence!" Really? Gong Miaoyi's face changed slightly. He knew the details of Jian Wushuang. Although Jian Wushuang had recovered his true face now, the aura left in her body had not changed. Others didn't say it was for Jian Wushuang. She didn't say it was afraid that Jian Wushuang would kill her. Is indeed a coincidence. I did not expect to tear the void at will, enter here, will be able to meet Gong Miaoyi. If there is no Guantian chessboard, Gong Miaoyi's origins really don't want to let go, but now with the Guantian chessboard, there is no need to play the opponent's idea. The more he reached the realm of consummation, the bigger the causal killing in his body. The killing is about to stop. Where is this place? Jian Wushuang asked. After seeing that Jian Wushuang had no intention of killing, Gong Miaoyi also relaxed. This is a submarine tomb, left by a fifth-order emperor sitting on the floor. Then he pointed to the white gas hot spring and said, "The spiritual spring with its origin is very rare in the West Sea, not as good as the two of us." Separated? Jian Wushuang didn't feel anything wrong at first, but he almost laughed angrily when he heard the last sentence. This Lingquan is indeed a good treasure, and it can also sell a 20 billion sacred stone. For the average fifth-order emperor, it is considered a good receipt, and for the fourth-order emperor, it is considered a windfall. But for Jian Wushuang, this is a stinking ditch. I'm lazy to get it when I see it. Now let him divide it. Just kidding, how could it be possible? There is still a spiritual root below, which is transformed by 100 weeping vine. This spring is the tears of the vine. Gong Miaoyi wanted to say more, but was interrupted by Jian Wushuang. The sword has no double-sided color and solemnly said, "I want 70%, the extra 20%, I can discount the treasure for you." After speaking, he plunged into the spring water. Gong Miaoyi did not refute, mainly she is not Jian Wushuang's opponent either. It's just a Lingquan sword. Wushuang doesn't care, but the Baiwai vine under the Lingquan is extraordinary. This spring is said to be tears from vines, but it is not all. There should be a spring here, but after tears entered the spring water here has undergone a qualitative change. 100 crying vine is a special kind of ancient plant, very precious. Now it is almost extinct. In Qiu Huangqing, a drop of Bai Wai Veng's tears needed 100,000 points. And Bai Wai Veng usually produces a tear in 10,000 years. This is in the 4 secret realms, worth at least 500 million sacred stones. The price set for them in Qiu Huang City was very low. Is because Baikuding's tears can clear the naked eye, clear the mind of the practitioner, and enhance the realm of the soul. So the price is very low. But for the emperor, Baikuding's tears are the key treasure to enhance the divine body, especially when it breaks through 30,000 times the basic divine body. And Baikuding itself is the ultimate treasure for improving the divine body, the ultimate treasure after it has been increased 50,000 times in the future. How could Jian Wushuang give up? After raising this vine, he can quickly reach 50,000 times the divine body, and then unload the mill and kill the donkey, devouring the 100 crying vines and surpassing 50,000 times. Is just the cooked meat that was delivered to his mouth and helped him chew. More importantly, Jian Wushuang can use the power of all things to forcibly ripen by cry vine and make it cry every day. Wanyan he can't wait that long. Yu reading www.akanash.com. 1 drop in 10,000 years, he has to wait for 50,000 times the divine body. How many years he has to wait? the power of all things urges, and then put the 100 weeping vine into the long river of time and space in the center of the Guantian chessboard, and the growth rate will be faster. This is a treasure of infinite value. Deep into the spring water, Jian Wushuang really saw the mature vine. On this vine, there is still a huge red line circling. The arrival of Jian Wushuang and Gong Miaoyi made Zhu Meng open his eyes. Tier 5 Pinnacle. Jian Wushuang saw the opponent's combat power at a glance. Gong Miaoyi is now also the pinnacle of Tier 5, and his combat power has exploded at this level, and he can even reach it. This giant python can't hold back the crying vines, and it's even harder to escape today. The two looked at each other and shot together. An hour later, Jian Wushuang and Gong Miaoyi sat cross-legged on the bluestone plate, holding the cooked python in their hands. The body of the giant python was condensed by Jian Wushuang, and it only turned into a battle long. After a little bit of roasting, it was eaten with a sense of ritual. https://mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5446 was meant to be swallowed, but I haven't tasted the meat for a long time. Jian Wushuang, on a whim, directly grilled the python. Not to mention, the divine body actually doubled. The desolate beasts of the Fifth Order Emperor generally don't help Jian Wushuang, and the pronucleus has some effect. This physical body can improve his divine body, probably because it has been around the Baiwai vines for a long time. Now that 100 crying vine has already taken root in the Guantian chessboard. Don't worry, I will never take advantage of you. The treasure in this mustard seed is almost enough. Jian Wushuang handed out a mustard seed. It was the mustard seeds of the two fallen elders of Cayman that he had previously put away, and the mustard seeds of the emperor he had killed, all of which were collected by him. He took out a part and gave it to Gong Miaoyi, knowing that there are still two Sixth-Order emperors whose total worth, although only a part, is worth more than 3 trillion. Baicry vines are very special. If they are raised, they can be said to have a steady stream of wealth, but Gong Miaoyi does not have the ability to maintain it. Then Jian Wushuang condensed a mass of origin, and took out a whole jar of Baikuding's tears and handed it to Gong Miaoyi. Although Baikuding's tears are precious, his power of all things is even more precious, and these treasures are almost enough. Is not too cheap. The jar of tears just now was left by Baikuding, who praised 100 Era. The Fifth Order Emperor was also lucky and got Baikue Vine. Unfortunately, his own strength was too bad, and he finally fell. It was cheaper. Both of them. Although a lot of tears have been lost, there are hundreds of pieces accumulated over the years, and only 1/5 of them have been given to Gong Miaoyi. This value is not something that God's stone can calculate. Gong Miao accepted the order according to the order, without any hesitation. There is no way to divide 100 crying vines. Only one party suffers. She is weak and has a weak background and can only swallow bitter fruit, but Jian Wushuang can give her so many treasures, she is still very surprised. It seems that since Jian Wushuang regained his true identity, the whole person seems to have changed, no longer the previous harshness. He really didn't notice it himself, but he just felt that in the future he would kill less and go to heaven. The way of heaven nurtures all things, and walking the way of heaven is the most suitable for his power of all things. Causal killing is like an ant on a hot pot. Before Jian Wushuang's pot was not hot, the ants were still honest. Now that he gets stronger and stronger, the pot is getting hotter and hotter, and the ants start to rush around. Especially after the faint breakthrough of Jidao, the feeling became clearer. Jian Wushuang had to chop off this part of the cause and effect before he joined the Dao. It's better to leave now. Jian Wushuang, where are you going next? Gong Miaoyi asked curiously. But after another thought, Jian Wushuang is the inheritor, and it is estimated that he will go to the mysterious Tomb Mountain. Jian Wushuang was a little surprised. This man was not afraid of him anymore, but there was nothing to say about this kind of thing, so he replied, Hadao, and then go back to the Tomb Mountain. Are you really just a Taoist? Gong Miaoyi couldn't believe it. There is nothing to hide, I am indeed a Taoist. The two chatted one after another, walked out of the Lingquan's secret room, and then entered an ancient teleportation formation and left here. When appeared again, he had already reached the bottom of the Black Sea. Is just the current ocean floor, without the darkness of the past, the sea water has also turned light blue. Broke through the water, and the long-lost sunlight tilted, Jian Wushuang felt a touch of comfort like never before. 100,000 years. This time, there is 100,000 years in the West Sea ruins, but in real time, there is no acceleration. Counting the acceleration time, he can be regarded as an old monster who has lived for several epochs. At the beginning of the starry sky, although there was no clear calculation, but a rough calculation, at least 2 epochs will be the bottom line. Spread out his hands, his shabby clothes were replaced with dark green robes, and his hair was crowned again. Jian Wushuang took a long breath. Gong Miaoyi put on the veil again, and restored the appearance of a noble saint. Just as the two were about to say goodbye, and they were flying high, a powerful force swept in from a distance. This power sword is unparalleled, without any panic. Then the sky was torn apart, and a man in a Taoist robe stepped on a black thread snake came out. It was Wu Zue, the head of the law enforcement hall of the Senate Palace. Gong Miaoyi doesn't know who the person is here. She just feels so powerful that she can't breathe. She can only stand by holding her breath and dare not move. Jian Wushuang, long time no see. Wu Zue leaked a smile. He was not used to these inheritors at first, but judging from the practice of the true spirit, these people will be the pride of heaven in the future, so he treats these inheritors. Lost the arrogance of the past. Especially for the Taoist Jian Wushuang, the Taoist who can obtain the personal things of the God will definitely be a big person in the future, at least the person who really values it. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly. Although he knew that Wu Zue had transferred away the old man with horns, he was looted, but his face could not be revealed. The key point: Wu Zue did not know that King Bai came for him. Meet the Emperor. Wu waved his hand to the left and said calmly, "You're welcome. I am here this time. One is to pick up Situ Nan, you should have seen it, and the other is to see you." Jian Wushuang was taken aback. Come to see him? He can't go to the Tomb Mountain now, but fortunately, this time he can hold Wu Zue's thigh, take refuge in the Tomb Mountain, and go to the heaven. Why did the Emperor look for me? Wu left-handed out a mustard seed and said, "Someone asked me to bring you a big gift. Come and read it for yourself." Jian Wushuang took the mustard, opened it, and was stunned. Inside there is only a long mahogany box. After taking out the box, a long sword lay inside. After Wu Zue saw the long sword, he was not surprised. He just said with emotion, "This is Jiyun's saber. It was acquired by the Lord Zhu Yi after Yang Sanmo became the 6th Order Emperor. It was specially given to you. Make up for your failure to protect you in the first place." Hearing this, Jian Wushuang's heart warmed. He has never blamed the old man with horns, and he secretly scolded Wu Zue. When he saw the old man with horns in Daxia, although he didn't say much, they all had their own minds, so there was no need to spend so much. Wu Zue is also very embarrassed. The old horned man is so expensive. He is the master of the law enforcement hall. At the beginning, he was going to mobilize the 3 goals of the sheep. In the final analysis, the responsibility lies with him. Now that the sheep's 3 eyes are all spent, he can't express it? With a dry cough, Wu Zue took out a jade box with a smile in his eyes. The last thing I did was a little improper. This long yenghua was once obtained by the master who felled an ancient dragon tree. When I was divided, I also got one, which helped the divine body a lot. I think your divine body is still very weak, and you can use it to build a foundation. https://mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5447. This time Jian Wushuang was really not polite and took it straight away. Master of Wu Zue, who is that? That's the of ambiguity. The of ambiguity got some gadgets for his disciples. Could it be worse? Thank you, Emperor. Cloud Sword. Great Emperor Jiyun's personal sword. The power contained above is amazing. Although Wu Zue felt a little distressed, Long Yenghua was of little use to him, so he gave it away as soon as it was given. Compared with Jueyun's sword, it was still a lot worse. This Jueyun sword, accompanied by the great Emperor Jueyun, fought in all directions and killed countless powerful men, and even fought against the Lord of the Universe. Although it is still the eternal treasure level, as long as the great Emperor Jueyun was promoted to the Lord of the Universe, I am afraid that Jueyun sword will also be promoted to become the treasure of the universe. Jian Wushuang took out the Jueyun sword. Because his strength rose too fast, he hadn't used such a handy long sword for a long time. Dared to raise his hand to pull out, he was stopped by Wu Zhuo. This sword Jueyun contains the ultimate swordsmanship of the emperor rank. It is not easy to pull it out. You must have a strong determination. Otherwise, you will be bitten back. Wu Zhuo said. Jian Wushuang nodded. He did feel the powerful sword intent in the scabbard, but he still wanted to give it a try. There is no way, a sword repairer, how can he resist pulling out a peerless sword? Jian Wushuang grasped the hilt of the sword, his heart was horizontal, the power of the ultimate kendo was instilled in, and he slammed. The long sword will make a cloud, once again appearing. A sharp sword aura rose within 1,000,000 miles around. This made Gong Miaoyi on the side back again and again in fright. Yu Zhuo is also very shocked. I didn't expect Jian Wushuang to pull out the Jueyun sword in one go. It really is a good sword. Jian Wushuang moved his wrist at random, and when he danced, he felt that this Jueyun sword was driving the sword energy of his whole body. Although Wu Zhuo was shocked, there was not much surprise. Jian Wushuang was the top ultimate Taoist selected by Zhenling. How could it be bad? Maybe he can really reach the level of Emperor Jueyun in the future. Thinking of this, my heart trembled. The strength of the great Emperor Jueyun is comparable to those of the masters of the universe. It is more than 18 gods and generals, and is stronger than the few direct disciples of Qixin. He was just a named disciple at the time. Although he was also the pinnacle powerhouse in the top, he was at most comparable to the 18 gods under the command of the gods. And the great Emperor Jueyun is the existence that can crush those gods at will. Okay. The gift has been delivered, I should take someone away too. Wu Zhuo said with a calm smile. Jian Wushuang put away the Jueyun sword, and hurriedly stepped forward and asked, Diju and Wu Zhuo, are you planning to take people to the heaven? Well, it's time to leave. Now the boundary is unstable, it's better to leave early. The mess here is beyond our control. Wu Zhuo, who was about to go, stopped and explained to Jian Wushuang. The current territorial boundaries are messed up into a pot of porridge. If you don't leave, you will have to be left by the true spirit to clean up the mess in the White Tiger Palace. You can use it as a coolie for free, but Wu Zhuo can't do it. Jian Wushuang saw that the time had come, and said euphemistically, it's a coincidence, the junior is also about to go to the heavens, to visit the senior Qiu in the Palace of the Elders, just to go back with the emperor. Okay, come with me. Wu Zhuo didn't care, and it didn't matter to bring one more person along the way. Gong Miaoyi, who had been standing in the distance, was a little surprised. The inheritors are indeed extraordinary, and there is a big backing behind them. Anyone who comes out is the most apex of existence, and they can give out so many treasures, and they are also envious. Especially when I heard it went to heaven. You need to know that it's easy to get from the heaven to the earth, and you don't have to spend many stones. The sacred stones needed to travel from the earth to the heavens are astronomical numbers. And the teleportation array to the heaven is at the very center of the earth, where is the site of the temple. If you want to go to the heaven, you will not only have to pay a huge amount of sacred stones, but also various interrogations. The foundation is not clean, you can't go to the heaven at all. Gong Miaoyi was a little moved. Her father was in the heavens, and she wanted to see the heavens too, but the cost was too high. Even if she wanted to go to the heavens now, it would be very troublesome. Is a great opportunity. Wu Zhuo Emperor's strength is above the sky, his identity is extraordinary, and he can pass through the boundary wall at will. At this time, she was holding Jian Wushuang's thigh, and she might be able to go to the heaven together. Thinking of this, Gong Miaoyi hurriedly asked, Brother Wushuang, what should I do? The question is quite level. Wu turned his head and took a look, then looked at Jian Wushuang again, leaking a knowing smile. Jian Wushuang squinted slightly. He knew that Gong Miaoyi's father was in the heaven. He wanted to go to the heaven. Immediately transmitted the voice. If you want to go to the heavens, come on. Just bring one more person, and I guess wouldn't disagree. Originally, he was going to let Gong Miaoyi go. Since he had to follow along, the ultimate way in her body had to be copied again, which would help him improve his kendo. Guantian chessboard also has the origin of kendo, but the chess pieces are too powerful, and he can't enter the copy at all, and it is a fantasy to want to swallow. Those chess pieces are a complete source of origin, not a single thread, let alone a single thread. Although he doesn't have the desire to swallow it now, the effect after swallowing is still there, and most people really can't stop this temptation. Before he understood those chess pieces, he would not swallow it rashly. Even if he had the strength to swallow it, he would be cautious. Gong Miaoyi finally got on the black line big snake, and the three of them walked in the other direction together. When halfway down, the black demon's sea began to tremble. A huge suction erupted from the ground. A vortex also appeared on the sea surface. Is the same as the vortex sea low, but the range is much larger. The waters of the entire Black Devil Sea were circling toward the vortex, and the sea surface also dropped suddenly. Jian Wushuang thought of what the first true king said: the three kings' court would fall into the turbulence of time and space after an hour. Now do the math, the time has come. The force of swallowing involved the three kings' court in the turbulence of time and space, while the rest were teleported out. As for Shang and the Lord of the Universe, Foyigo, they don't know. After all, they have been in for 100,000 years, and the two have either decided the victory or the defeat, or left each. Jian Wushuang was not too curious about this. He was just curious about whose hands the Soul Dao inheritance fell into. At the beginning, in the inheritance of Soul Dao, Tong Tian Buddha and Hui Qing both walked ahead. Maybe it's these two people and Jiang Shang, maybe it's Zhen Wuiyang. The probability of being Zhen Wuiyang is not high, and he is not far away. As for change, it is almost certainly Broly. A group of people floating in the air, a little dazed. The three kingdoms said that they were occupied when they fell. They couldn't accept it for a while, and they were still struggling with the two major inheritances just now. Qi Shui Xing's face was a little gloomy. Chapter 54-48. On Fengsuan Mountain, he hadn't met anyone since he entered, and he hovered at the foot of the mountain until he was teleported out, and he didn't get anything. When I walked the soul ladder, I entered the eternal change, but only selected a treasure, the value of which was average, and it was not considered a receipt. 100,000 years, nothing was achieved. Take the opportunity to experience the growth of all things by taking the change path ladder. This time it can be said that it was a waste of time, running a lap with others. Tong Tian Buddha still has a calm expression, and Zhen Wuiyang can receive the goods. Among the copper furnaces, there are the most treasures. The few people who passed on the Soul Road inheritance received a lot of goods, especially Hui Qing and Jiang Shang, who received a lot of treasures. The three kings' court was destroyed too quickly, and there were not many treasures left, but in the eyes of the emperor, it was also a huge resource. There are several treasures of the universe, but I don't know who took them. These people have a calm look, and they are especially good at pretending. The people who walked through the change path were miserable. Emperor Tianshan also pulled his face, without saying a word. Since it's over, they glanced down and then left. The Soul Dao inheritance that the master of Guiling Island walked, also got some treasures, was in a good mood, and left with some surviving subordinates. His apprentice Broly went crazy and rushed into the whirlpool. Turtle Island master shook his head, did not say much, and left with people indifferently. Bukuan and others had fallen a long time ago, and when Jian Wushuang entered the palace of three kings, he let his men besieged and killed. Now the entire ruins have collapsed into a turbulent flow of time and space, and the corpses are hard to find. But just when Broly wanted to enter the whirlpool, Wu left his hand. Before the person arrived, a huge palm had come, holding Broly directly in his hand. By the time Wuzwa came, it was too late. The vortex disappeared. This is the turbulence of time and space. Once in, the Lord of the Universe will fall, and Wu's will naturally dare not enter, but it is because of this change that Tao Emperor. He didn't know that the ruins trapped in time and space did not enter the turbulent flow of time and space, but appeared in another place. The Sea of Origin. Zhenling hooked his finger and took the remains of the three kings' court into his own hands. Broly was also naturally rescued by him. Fight with me. Zhenling's mouth raised. This time at the West Sea ruins, he secretly fought against the gods. In the end, although the winner was not clearly distinguished, Foi Ego ran away, but Shang also reached the perfect state because of the Foi Ego space, and he was already the Mahayana of the universe. The origin has been elevated to the realm of the universe, and only the secrets of the universe are left. Once the secrets are completed, they can go to the realm of the master of the universe. And Haiking. The success of Huiqing Hedao is also a happy event. 100,000 years later, 4 ultimate emperors appeared on the Tomb God Mountain. 94 ultimate Tao monarchs joined forces, and only 4 succeeded, which he had spent countless prices in exchange for. The ultimate way of these 4 people, the farthest one is only the 8th floor, and the 8th level ultimate way succeeded in joining the Tao, just becoming the emperor, is the pinnacle of the 4th order. The remaining 3 are all the ultimate emperors who have succeeded in harmony in the 7th level pinnacle realm. These are the powerful ones with infinite value. But compared with Huiqing, it's still a lot worse. Huiqing, with the posture of 9 levels of consummation, Hedao succeeded in becoming the ultimate emperor against the sky, and the emperor who dares to succeed in Hedao is the 5th order peak emperor. This was one of the strongest geniuses in ancient times, and there would not even be one in countless epics. The more I look at it, the more I like it. The Temple of Chi-Chi has only been opened for more than 100,000 years, and so many powerful inheritors have emerged. Maybe they can really rejuvenate once again. Do not. They will be able to be great again, stand on the other side of the starry sky again, and become the overlord of the starry sky. On the Tomb Mountain, hundreds of thousands of inheritors have been added over the years. Among them, the ultimate Taoist has broken 5,000. Although it is impossible for everyone to be trained like Huiqing, even if the resources invested in the next decrease, there will be 200 ultimate emperors of the 5,000 Daojun. As long as 1 or 2 masters of the universe can appear, he can rest assured that the Qishan Temple far shields other time and space, and the master of the universe sits down and has the ability to settle in other time and space. Inheritors have great potential, but they can't stay in the 4 secret realms all the time. They still need to go to the outside world. Otherwise, he will never become the Lord of the Universe in his lifetime. After Shang and Foi Ego fought, he left the Temple of Qishan the same, was sent to the end of this long river of time and space, and went to the origin of time and space. After the 6th level, in the Temple of Qishan, there is not much need anymore. Thanks, change. As soon as Zhenling stretched out his hand, he brought Broly in a comatose state to his eyes. Facing the sea breeze, Zhen Weiyang, Tong Tian Buddha and others bid farewell to Wuzhua and left in a hurry. A war broke out in the land boundary, and the inheritors were all involved. Wuzhua could go, but they couldn't. But there is no need for a Taoist like Jian Wushuang to participate. Brother Wushuang, see you on the Tomb Mountain. Huiqing and Jiang Shang also left, but before leaving Jian Wushuang a mustard seed. Contains a huge amount of treasures, all of which are key treasures for improving the divine body. Jian Wushuang's eyes were hot, and when he wanted to shirk, Huiqing had already left. This kindness, he took it down. Looking at these treasures, he now finally understands why the emperors who went to Fangkunshan are all holding their faces. The emotional treasures are all in that copper furnace. No wonder Zhen Weiyang kept laughing. They really got a lot of treasures. But compared with him, these treasures is a bit inconspicuous. Jian Wushuang has obtained a time and space treasure. The true spirit will be hot when he sees it, but fortunately, there is a formation that obscures the time and space, so that no one can find it. The treasures Huiqing gave him were enough to make his basic divine body exceed 30,000 times. The divine body has learned the magic of the heavens. He has cultivated to consummation, and the foundation is very solid, and it is time to accumulate the divine body. After sending those people away, Situ Nan and the people from the old palace were left. The Fifth Order Emperor of the Yuan Elder Palace has fallen, and this time I received a lot of goods, which is not too bad. After everyone left, everyone didn't stay here much, and went directly to the core of the earth. They traveled from the West Sea to the southeast, and they would take the teleportation array along the way, but the teleportation array in the land boundary was not fully laid, and most of the time they were on their way. It took 10 years just to hurry, and they finally reached the core of the earth. The core of the land boundary is a mountain range that stretches for countless miles, which can be comparable to a higher world. On the mountain, a deep ancient city was built. Taiwu Mountain Range, Taiwu Castle. Jian Wushuang was also curious the first time he came here. This was the largest city he had ever talked about. A city was as big as a world. Chapter 5449. Among them, there are countless practitioners. Even the emperor and the strong who are visible to the naked eye come in and out. Go to the boundary wall of the heaven, which is in this Taiwu city. Taiwu Castle, the White Tiger Temple of the Master, is located in the deepest mountain range. When the White Tiger Palace was in control of the realm, there was a pinnacle power on Taiwu Mountain, which was retained because it surrendered quickly. You must know that when the White Tiger Palace once swept the 4 secret realms, there was no grass left. The forces left by are now managing this super city. This power has grown in countless epochs, backed by the temple, and has grown and surpassed the glory of the ancient times. There are 3 superpowers in one sect, and there are more than a dozen emperors of the Sixth Order. It is the strongest power in the realm except for the temple. None of them. When Wu Zue and others approached, they entered directly over the air without passing through the city gate. The emperor at the bottom of this scene seemed to be dying. No one except the people in the temple dared to cross the city gate from the sky, and the Sixth Order Emperor did not have this authority. Just as many people were waiting to watch the play, a Sixth Order Emperor sitting on the wall of Taiwu City personally leaped into the air to attract Wu Zue and others. Many people are stunned, secretly guessing that this is a big shot. Hall Master Wu Zue, is this going to return to the heavens? The person here is very young, with a calm and graceful manner, and a pampered appearance. As for the native emperors of these 4 secret realms, Wu Zue has always been ignorant, but he nodded slightly and did not speak. Come here. The Sixth Order Emperor first led them into a teleportation formation, and then the space changed, and they entered the depths of the Taiwu mountain range. In the city, a teleportation array is needed. One can imagine how huge this Taiwu city is. When teleporting, the Sixth Order Emperor used a special token, so they were directly teleported to a valley, where there are many large and small palaces, and each palace has a strong emperor. There are at least tens of thousands of emperors in his palace. And in the deepest palace, there is a supreme powerhouse. This place is one of the most important places in Taiwu City, and the boundary with the heaven is here. Wu Zue Hall Master, I will send it here. I wish you all a good journey. Wu Zue pretended to be indifferent. People like them were not so arrogant. After Situ Nan thanked him, everyone went in. After entering the interior, Jian Wushuang and Gong Miaoyi, who came for the first time, were shocked. Boundary wall. Originally thought that there was no difference between the boundary shuttle and the shuttle array, but now it seems that the difference is too big. His broken boundary wall visible to the naked eye is the only way to return to the heaven. At the core, the broken boundary wall was pitch black and gloomy, more like a black hole. But the power contained in it is beyond the black hole, at least the power of the universe. At the beginning, it was said that the emperor broke the boundary wall. What a powerful strength! There must be gods helping. The 4 secret realms, said to be secret realms, are actually more like a universe. The 4 universes are linked together, but the scope is not as big as the real universe. Together, the 4 secret realms can be comparable to the entire primitive universe. But this range is large enough. The key is that the number of strong is much stronger than the original universe. After all, there have been countless epochs, and it should be stronger than the outside world. How many epochs were born in the primitive universe? There are only a few fifth-order emperors. The four secret realms have existed since the ancient times when they were forged. In addition, with the ancient heritage and the accumulation of countless epochs, it is not surprising that they have such a powerful background. The most important thing is inheritance. Has the predecessor's guidance, but it is much better than crossing the river alone by touching the stones. Let's say that people like Zhen Weiyang almost stagnated when they entered the Temple of Qixin. They relied on mastering the origin of the heavens to improve their space, but after they arrived at the Temple of Heaven, they grew faster under the new cultivation system. This has been countless years. Accumulate thick and thin hair. It's nothing to be able to walk to the fourth-order emperor, enter the Temple of Qixin, and quickly rise to a level without anyone's guidance. Even among the few of them, there is hope that a master of the universe will be born. Even if the worst of them, they can become the sixth-order peak emperor. This is the terrible inheritance. If there is no Qixin temple, Zhen Weiyang and others will be lucky if they can reach the fifth-order emperor in their entire life. After entering the deep hall, a white-haired old man appeared in front of them, and only a Dharmakaya came. The old man is combined with the void, looming. Choujio trouble? Wu Zuo was rare and polite. Although the incoming person is an aboriginal emperor in the four secret realms, he is an extremely strong man with extraordinary strength. In addition, he has taken refuge in the temple, and his origin has been repaired a lot. Although it is still somewhat incomplete, his strength should not be underestimated. Choujio has said, "This kind of trivial matter is nothing. When the boundaries of the land are too peaceful, I will go to the patriarch's palace to harass the hall master. Then just don't dislike it. Welcome any time." Under the guidance of Choujio, they boarded a floating disc, and then Wu Zuo nodded at Choujio. The disc rose in an instant. Before they could even react, they entered the cracked boundary wall. According to legend, when the boundary wall was just broken, the stray strands of the fall was high when he wanted to go to the heaven. Later, the White Tiger Palace personally created a unique secret treasure, which can protect itself and solve this problem. So now it is very safe to go to the heaven. Almost nothing will happen. Unless you do it yourself, we'll do it in the boundary. Almost a breathing time, when everyone appeared again, they had already reached the heaven. The power different from the power of the earth follows. This force is much gentler than the realm, not as violent as the realm. Among them, only Gong Miaoyi had never been to the heavens. For the first time, he felt the power of the heavens. It was a bit strange, and he couldn't help but mobilize the forces around him to gather his body. Don't try, just wait for you to practice. Jian Wushuang was a little speechless, but there were many people around him. Gong Miaoyi's appearance of having never seen the world made him faceless. Although it is easy for the heavens to enter the earth, the location of the boundary wall is still established in Zhongzhou, the headquarters of the White Tiger Palace. The celestial palace of the elders was at odds with the White Tiger Hall. This is a well-known thing. Wu Zuo took them and left directly instead of staying at the headquarters of the White Tiger Hall. Of course, none of the people in the White Tiger Palace came out to say hello. They were all gloomy faces. Gong Miaoyi was curiously watching everything on the road. Privately speaking, Jian Wushuang said, "This is the temple headquarters? What you see is only a part. As far as I know, the real White Tiger Palace can be changed. This place should be just the old nest of the heavens." Jian Wushuang once heard Lord Shan talk about the four halls, which are four pieces refined by the gods. The supreme treasure of the universe is a treasure that is no weaker than the beasts. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.